What's up? What's up? What's
What's
up? Can you
going on, Marcus?
can you hear me? No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Uh,
hear you.
I just want to make sure, man.
Yeah, I can
What's
definitely hear you, man. How
what,
you doing?
man? You know we got these fires out here.
I know, man. How you doing, man? How's your family?
Oh, we good, man. We was we're not like we're close, but
They
not
say,
that close.
okay,
We close, but
okay.
we close, but not that close. But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. We had one close to us, but they put it out quick because they already had all the units and stuff already here.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's crazy around here, bro. But
got you.
like Palisades, they got wiped out. Calabasas, good part, but mainly Palisades got wiped out. And
Mm,
yeah, but all the other places, man, people panicking and stuff like that. But it's not even that crazy.
mm.
Like we was out of power for like 2 days. We got power like last night,
Oh
but
man,
we stayed home though because I went to my trucks and I got these little power generators, these little solar power generators. I keep them in my
yeah,
trucks.
yeah.
So how to so that's what I ended up doing, man.
Okay.
But yeah, so
How to
we're
vote?
straight. Yeah, well, let's
How to
get to
vote
it.
union president? Yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a petition on
Mm,
my website, cdlshorty.com, and you guys can go on there and vote, and then we're gonna figure out how to do a vote on Parliament
mm,
as well.
mm,
So it'll be give us about a good week, and then we'll have them out. Right now, what I'm just doing is basically campaigning. You know, I see a lot of things that's wrong with the industry, and I figured out that, like I said earlier on a couple weeks ago, I'm gonna stop talking about the industry being and fluctuated with a lot of drivers, new people coming in, people taking cheap freight. I said I was
right.
gonna stop that, and I was gonna start going back in history and start talking about the deregulation of trucking, because that's in order to understand where trucking is at now. You have to go back in history, and then when you research and start to understand deregulation, now you look at it with a different eye, and you're like, oh, this is why trucking is so fucked up right now.
Well, also too, when you look at it, let me see. Hold on, let me bring in Alante, bro. Add me. How do I do that? Add. Is it add as a moderator?
Uh,
Is that what,
I'm not. Bro said, can you add the link to the page? Yeah, I can definitely
uh,
do that. Give me about a week or so, and I'll put it on the page, and then follow my YouTube as well.
yeah, I would definitely say how you was talking about. Well, people don't know the significance of President Carter. What's up, big
What's
dog?
up?
What's going on, brothers? How you
But
going?
Good, good.
when you was talking about President Carter, I don't think a lot of people know that he was basically the president that ruined trucking. He was the start because
Yeah,
President
well,
Carter is the one that did that deregulation, right?
yeah, he the one that he no, he's the end of deregulation. He's the one that actually eventually signed it into law, but it actually started with Nixon. It
Ah,
actually
okay.
started with his administration, man. What happened was the shippers started to complain a lot about there was carriers out there that wasn't picking up loads on time and wasn't
Mm-hmm.
delivering them on time,
Mm-hmm.
and then charging a set rate that was set by the ICC at that time. They
Uh,
complained a lot to him, and then he started and got the ball rolling, and then Mr. President Carter came in and finished it off.
wow. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. That's and I love it. I love it. I'm gonna start calling you the president and the historian because, like you said, because in order to improve the conditions forward, you gotta understand why things are the reason why they aren't from the past. And the
Right.
thing is, history always repeats itself. So it's gonna be the same cycle. So
Yeah.
you gotta figure out how do you stop it. So I love it. Like you said, I love what you're doing because now, you already made some of these social media people retire anyway. We talked about that on the text. So we're not even worried about them no more. Now
But
we
weight
really on that
loss.
education. Hell no.
But hey, no.
I feel like you already did your job. So now, now we got the real ones. And now you being a historian, because like at the end of the day, man, people got to understand this business. Like I said, we always talk about it's a business,
Yeah.
and things happen from the history, from the past. People got to understand why things are the way they are today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that we're doing this tonight because I thought about you guys, when I was doing all this research. I've been researching this for almost 3 weeks now. Still
Mm-hmm.
got a lot more to unpack as well. This is like my baby now. Broker transparency 49 CFR 371. That's my ultimate baby. But this deregulation, this is my new baby. But did you guys know, like you said, Marcus, history repeats itself. Did you guys know that they were selling MCs back in 88 and 89?
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My question to you is, CDL, and enlighten me. So, what does deregulation consist of?
Okay, so back in 1935, the government, they were called the ICC, the International, oh, not the International, I'm sorry, the Interstate Commerce Commission,
Mhm.
which basically is a fancy word for government. They had a handful of trucking companies, right? It was maybe 5 to 10 trucking companies that had everything locked down. The government came in and said, you have to set this rate. So what the ICC did was, and a lot of stuff I didn't talk about on the video that I'm going to talk about too, but what the ICC said was this, all right, y'all 10 trucking companies, y'all have to submit y'all's rate to us. It was all public information.
Mhm.
Submit the rate, and then guess what? The ICC will go to the shipper and say, what do y'all think about this? Is this too high? Is this too low? Then they would, because it was no then we have now we have RFPs. Back then it was no need for RFPs. So back then it was like, okay, whatever the ICC and the shipper agree on, that's what the rate is. Nobody could
Mm.
challenge that. So now, and then also with the ICC was, say Marcus is in California, right? Marcus couldn't cross state lines. You had to haul freight in your area that you was in. You
Mm.
had, in order to cross
Mm.
state lines, you had to go to the ICC and get a certificate
Mm.
to cross
Mm.
state lines.
And
Now,
I
the
know that
reason why
wasn't
the
easy.
ICC,
I know.
right
I
now, the
know.
reason why
Yeah,
the
I know that wasn't easy
ICC,
to get.
no, hell no, and the reason why
Mm-hmm.
the ICC was so powerful in what they were doing is because you got to go back to the railroad industry. The railroad industry was getting put out of business,
Mm.
during 1935 when trucking boomed. And the railroad industry basically said, hold on, wait a minute, we're losing business to these trucking companies. What y'all, government, we need y'all's help. So the railroad had their own rates. And what happened was from 1887, when the railroad first started, to, I mean, not when it first started, I'm sorry, 1887, when the railroad first got regulated, they came in and said, you know what? We're just going to copy and paste what we did with the railroad.
Mm.
And that's what happened. So you had shippers in 1935 still paying 1887 rates.
Mm.
And that was the first deregulation. That's when so then they had these things back in the day called trip leases.
Mm-hmm.
If brokers been around since 1905, they just didn't call them brokers, they call them truck brokers and not freight brokers. But say if a trucking company in prior to 1935 wanted to get a load from a freight broker, they was just a salesperson that had a commission of 10%. What they would do is they would call the trucker,
Mm.
right? In order for me to haul load for that truck dispatch or truck broker, I had to get something called a trip lease. Now, let's say you in Atlanta, Alante, and I'm in North Carolina. I had to come all the way down to Atlanta to see you, sign a trip lease to say that you're giving me this load. It's okay for me to sign it. Drive back up to North Carolina, and then go to Buffalo and deliver that load. And the government came in and was like, "Whoa, that is too much regulation." So they deregulated in 1935, but they didn't deregulate it that much. That's
Mm.
when you still had the mega carriers at that time still had a stronghold on them.
Mhm.
Then when it came to 1970, that's when Jimmy Hoffa had his big
Mm.
strike. But the and I had an old head in one of my videos, and I felt so stupid because he was talking to me about this, but I didn't know what he was talking about
Mhm.
until now. But the reason why a lot of truckers lost faith in unions was he was big with the Teamsters at that time.
Mhm.
And what he was doing was he was taking the he was a mobster, and he was taking the pension funds that the
Mm,
truckers was paying in for the dues. He was funneling that through the mobsters in Vegas.
mm.
So trucking actually helped build Vegas as well as everything else in the economy. I
Yeah.
mean, the trash community, they helped build Vegas because we all know up in New York and Jersey, the
Mm,
mob had trash contracts on lock.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just a little small portion. So now that we don't have the ICC, we don't have any regulations except for safety. Now it's a free market. It's free market. Capitalism's off the chain. It's wild, wild west. Brokers can do what they want. And then the twist that I found was when 49 CFR first came out, the truck, we didn't want it.
mm,
We did not. The brokers fought for that. And the reason why we didn't want it is because there really wasn't a middleman at the time. A broker, what he did was he actually just chased right behind the trucker, and
mm,
he found out that the trucker was, because back in that time we were getting paid from directly from the shipper.
mm,
The broker squeezed in and said, "Hey, they tricked the shippers. They tricked the shippers to made it look like I got a bunch of trucks, which they don't." And then they made the truck driver feel like, oh, I got a bunch of freight, which they don't. And then they
Mm-hmm.
squeezed their way in. And then guess what? That's when the ICC said, okay, y'all can do that, but you're just a salesperson, so you need to earn a 10% commission.
mm,
But it doesn't have to be 10%. It just has to be within 10%.
mm,
So when 49 CFR first came out, truckers, did we stay within that 10%? Did we lowball? What did we do? They
mm,
didn't know. So the first to ever oppose this back in 1982 was Yellow Freight. Yellow Freight took it to court, and they lost, but they took it to court though, and I found that out as well.
mm.
So now,
You dropping a
now
lot of game.
what happened was the way that it flipped was
Mm,
brokers, like I'm telling truckers, take your power back. Brokers took their power back. They said, you know what? We can make a business out of this. Let's go get working capital and make them come to us. Let's go and sweeten those relationships with those shippers now behind their backs and make them come to us. And that's how it flipped. That's how it flipped. All you got to do is go into deregulation and just read everything. Read everything, do your research, listen to different people, talk to different people, and it's right there. It's right there. And I do a lot of research. I honestly, ever since I had my heart surgery,
mm,
I really don't sleep that much. I don't
Mm-hmm.
sleep that much, and it allows me to do hours and hours and hours of research.
mm,
And I'm not always right.
mm.
My research ain't always right, but guess what? I'm man enough to come back and say, "Hey, I was wrong." But look, I researched this again on top of the research that I did in the past, and guess what? I found this out. You feel me? So I tell
Mm.
everybody, just do your research.
I knew about Hoffa. He was on that movie, The Irishman. He got whacked.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
yep. And I knew about him prior to that, and the power that he possessed. But
Mhm.
if you think about deregulation, if you think about the
Thank you, baby.
regulation when you had to go to Atlanta just to go to Buffalo, regulation in general stifle capitalism.
It
And
do.
whenever you have something that stifle capitalism, whether it's any kind of law, they're always gonna kind of go lean to opening the door more. I mean,
Right.
because America's fueled off capitalism. It
Mm-hmm.
has to make money. It's the fire in which the money burns. So just like from if we talk about slavery, it was an economic standpoint. Slavery stifled capitalism in the South, and it sounds to me like those rules and those laws, and broker transparency is needed. So 10%, I think they need to have a governing party just for fraud, just for commissions, because it can get nasty, over there. And
You want you want me to tell you something else I found out?
talk to me.
Everybody say truckers can't have a union. Truckers don't stick together. We honestly are in our own ways. You know why? Because the TIA, I've talked about them for a while, but I've done my research on them. They are literally a brokers union. Did you know
Who's
that?
that?
They are a brokers union. Not only that, when you become a freight
Mm,
broker, you have a 14-day waiting period, right? For you to get your all your licenses and stuff. If you sign up to be part of the TIA, you don't have to, just like any other union, you don't have to. But if you sign up to be a part of the TIA, which I suggest they do, guess what? Within that 14 days, the TIA sends out a letter to everybody and says, hey, these are the list of people that want to be in our brokers union. What do you guys think about them? You have 48 hours to give me your opinion in the TIA. Why the FMCSA don't do that? Why the FMCSA letting the bad players trickle down?
Ca- I wanna compare the FMCSA to insurance. The insurance commission, they have a whole government sector that governs the insurance commission, and each state has an insurance commissioner. That if something goes wrong, he has it to the governor. They complain to him. He has to be elected. There's nothing. There's no parenting party like that for FMCSA.
Right.
There's
Hey,
no
how
divisions.
you
There need to
doing,
be
Mr.
division for
Winfield?
parent.
Hope all is well.
Yeah, there need to
I
be
had to shout out
division
Adam
for.
from Winfield.
Yeah, it need to be division for parenting parties, bro. There's no like the FMCSA. You can't go there and say, "Hey, a broker treated me wrong. You know, I need help." They kind of want you
No,
to
you
file it
can't.
through.
You can't. But guess what? The TIA can go to broker or carrier 411 and report us because they have a union. The TIA is a union.
Mhm,
Why truckers can't stick together? Someone said the other day that deregulation deunionized trucking. I've read all through deregulation.
mhm,
Trust me, I've had these past 3 weeks to read all through it. It's no clause in there that says that we cannot become a union. What it is truckers lost trust.
mhm,
They lost trust with Jimmy Hoffa. They lost trust with deregulation because deregulation made it easier for everybody to come in and get their own trucking company, which was a good thing because we can be our own bosses now. But guess what? That made everybody look out for self. We don't care about the next man.
mhm,
You know, you know what I love about this? I'm gonna tell you. So you know how we talk about trust. The truckers doesn't trust anybody, right? And now it goes all the way back to what you bring from with Jimmy Hoffa and all that stuff, presidents and everything, Nixon, Carter. The trucking industry or the truckers just don't trust somebody to help them out because they say they're gonna help them out and they don't. And that's why when we talk about UCDL, we talk about the stuff that you were doing last year. You were cleansing out the people that were taking away the trust from the truckers. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? People are continually taking, advantage of the trucker, right? And I
yeah,
love that, like I said, we talk about you doing last year and cleansing that because the trucker needs to trust somebody. The
right,
truckers need to feel like somebody is actually in their corner and don't want nothing from them.
right.
And that's the thing that we're all doing, which is great, is like I said, we're throwing out information with nothing in return. We want to give you this
Nothing.
information, this education, because we want you guys to be successful. And I
and
think
build
it's going to take
trust.
the truck and build trust, right? And it's not like we want $1,000 or $2,000 or $20,000 for a course, anything like that. I really feel that has taken its turn
Mhm,
because you got people like us, more specifically like CDL Shorty, stopping that. But now, like you said, it's about educating, and then somebody has to find the trucking, companies or small company owner operators, truckers. They need to find somebody that they trust, you know, and
Right.
that's just what it is. If they can find somebody that they can trust to form a union and stuff like that, I definitely feel that it can happen. But everybody has to be on the same accord, you know.
See,
And
w-
one of the biggest things, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Marcus. I don't want to cut you
No,
off. Go
no, no,
ahead.
no. One of the biggest things I talk about is like we talk about the freight industry. It's like, look, yeah, we competing, but we really don't have to compete because there's so much freight. People
mhm,
Yeah,
think that there's a small amount of freight that we can only all of us can go after this bit. There's so much
yeah.
freight out there, bro. We don't have to fight one another to get freight. It's out there, you know? So if we get out of that crab in the barrel mentality, I feel like the truckers, the owner operators, small trucking companies, because you're not going to get the big trucking companies to support this. They don't want to support this.
No, no,
But if you get
Mark.
everybody else, you're good.
I'm glad that you said that because that's going to segue into something. In 1988, the owner, the CEO of JB Hunt, had an interview. They wrote an article about deregulation. This man actually sat up there and said this. This man said, I love deregulation. The interviewer asked him why. You know what he said? He said, because if I can have 600 trucks, if I can get 600 trucks to run 600 miles a day on a penny, he said, on a penny above their operating cost, just 1 cent. He said, that's good money. You know what it you know what it made me think about? That's just pushing the independent operator out, because guess what? Independent operator is the one truck, one trailer, right? They got 600 with 1,200 trailers. That's when they started doing dropping hooks. That's when they started doing trailer pulls and pushing everybody out. And that's when Swift blew up, JB Hunt blew up. And guess what? They came in and told the consumer, because what deregulation really was it was a win for the consumer, the shipper.
Mm-hmm.
So JB Hunt came in and said, "Oh, Marcus is charging you $5,600 to move that load. Well, I got 10 trucks I can park right out there, and I can move it for 2,400. You don't think
Mm-hmm.
the shipper loved that?
Of course. And that's the goal of the big trucking company. I tell, and this is what I work with a big company, and they used to always say, "Oh, well, we can go to this company; they'll do it for far cheaper." And I always say, like, look, that's true. They can do it cheaper because, like you said, they're buying thousands of trucks at a time. So
Mm-hmm.
if a truck is 200,000, if they're buying thousands of trucks, they're probably getting those trucks for 60 grand, 70 grand a piece because they're
Oh, for
buying
sure.
thousands. They're buying
Well,
thousands. You know what I'm
they're
saying?
not buying; they leasing them.
Oh,
They
there you
they
go. So
they in
so
bed
Definitely
with
leasing them.
Freightliner. They in bed with
yeah.
Volvo.
So they
Right.
all
They
in
getting a return
bed.
on their
But
investment.
Mm-hmm.
this is what I tell these coaches. I said, look, the plan, and you've seen it, this especially in 2024, you've seen it. It's been a mass exodus of small trucking companies, owner operators. It's been a mass exodus of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's only the big companies around, what do you think it's going to do? The prices, they're going to raise the price because there's nobody else around.
For
And that's the
sure.
plan. Then that's the plan of the big trucking companies, is to clear everybody out. And then the shipper's going to think, oh, you still going to, nope, nope. Because I can charge whatever I want because you can't go nowhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
all these big companies, you think they against each other? They not. They in different lanes, bro. They doing different things with different people. They not crossing because they know. There's always going
Yeah.
to be the big. There's always going to be the JB Hunt, the Schneider, the Swift. They're not going. The Prime. They're not going nowhere. You know what I'm
No.
saying? And they're
Mm-mm.
never going to step on each other's toes. Never. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? Because they understand. So that's what's going to be happening, bro. The big companies is sweeping these little companies out the way, and then next you know they're gonna be like, now it's nothing but us. Prices
Yeah,
going up.
but if we can start getting in people's ear and tell them, hey, stop driving for these mega carriers, man. Go, because check this out also. Cents per mile, that's a rule of thumb that came out in 1930. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
still running off of 1930 rules?
Yeah.
Why does it take 2 hours for my detention to kick in? I don't tell you, not saying none of y'all, but I don't tell you to go to work and clock in, and guess what? Your first 2 hours you don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about that. That's crazy. I was thinking about what job do you do when we get there. I mean, it should be at least an hour. Okay, I give you an hour grace, but 2 hours is crazy. It
Mm-hmm.
benefits you, not me. And then if I get there, you give me a bullshit tonu. We call it tonu.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We call it tonu. Yeah, give me a bullshit tonu for 150, 200. Ain't shit. Wipe my
Now,
ass for
Well.
$200. I spent
Well.
fuel, man.
Yeah, and that's what I
now
talk
they can
about too.
fight that and say on a regular job you get a lunch break or you get a 2 30-minute breaks. That's
Mm-hmm.
equal an hour, but I mean, come on, man. We driving a truck, man. There's
Same for a layover.
why? Again, I always say, why are there drivers out here nowadays that are living off cash advances? That's bringing home three, four, five, $600
Yeah.
today. I go out to truck stops and talk to these cats that's driving for these mega carriers. Now, you could say, oh, they mismanaging their money and all this, and some of that may be true.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, man, y'all. We know y'all. Come on, I see this stuff all the time. We know the most y'all paying is 1,500 to drive a truck. Come, really? And then I had somebody ask me, how much you think these carriers can afford to pay a driver? So before I tell y'all my answer, I want to hear y'all's answer.
How much you think to pay a
Man,
Yeah, like what's
it,
the profit
it
margin?
depends. It depends where you're at.
yeah, and it depends on what. There's
Cost
a
of
lot of
living.
there's a lot of factors in that. There's a lot of factors
Is
in
it
that.
dry freight? Is it refrigerator? Is it tanker? Is it hazmat? Is it hazardous? How long you
R-
going?
right, and
Are you
Okay,
local?
let's
Are you
it
say
all
home every night? Are you
and
OTR?
and it all comes
okay,
down
let's
to
say Swift. We know they the
what that
biggest.
trucking. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Mark.
no, it all comes down to what that trucking company CPM is as well. Like a company like Swift, JB Hunt, Schneider, they probably have the lowest of the low CPMs. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But
So
but see
y-
but CDL, I'm sorry, Marcus. I don't wanna interrupt you. I'm
no,
sorry.
you good,
But
good, good.
CDL the play is God advocate. I don't like to play devil advocate. I like to play God's
Yeah,
advocate.
come on with it.
In trucking, if you're just a small owner operator, you got, 2 or 3 trucks. If I pay my drivers 1,500 for me to make a full profit, I need to make 4,500. I need to make 3 times of what he
About
makes
right.
for it to
Yep.
make sense. If I
Hmm.
don't make 3 grand, and he making 1,500, I need to make double what he make because I got more bills. I need to make a profit. Anything can happen at any
Hmm.
moment. So
Correct.
if it depends what they're paying. If their driver's making 1,500 and bigger carrier, they're probably making 7,000,
So
6,000.
so let
So
no, go
go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, Alante.
But the margins have to be that high, all because of volatility and turnover rate.
Okay.
If
Hmm.
you didn't have
So
that
let
much turnover rate and it wasn't so volatile the way the market
right,
is, then you can
right.
afford to pay people a higher steady rate. But the market's so volatile, man, and people getting accidents, and it's a lot of things that go into that pie when you are a bigger carrier with CPMs. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So let me ask you this. Let me come back with it. Don't you think that's where broker transparency would be very helpful? Because now, and I'll give you an example. Let's say if I'm a broker, right, and I call you and I say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" I say, "I got a truck, or not a truck. I say I got a load for you right around the corner. Um, it's paying $1.54 a mile, and it's going 2,282 miles.
Mhm.
What would you take that?"
My thing, CDL, and I'm gonna have my boy on here. I was telling my boy about this because
Hmm.
I'm a really stern negotiator. So if you tell me a price, if you say, "Oh, you do it for 1,000," I probably come back to you and say, "I do it for 2,500."
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta come
you're
I'm,
back.
talking.
I'm,
Hold on.
You
You're
gotta
talking
go.
flat rate versus RPM.
yeah, I'm one of those guys who's gonna throw a ball of the moon because you might come back and say, "You know what? I do it for 2,000."
Right.
Because I said
Okay.
2,500. And what I'm saying to you is the only thing I'm against is that there's a carrier out there who, when that guy said I got 1,000 for it, and the carrier be like, well, you know what? Because he don't negotiate as good as I do. He'll say, you know what? I'll do it for 700. Carriers
Okay.
lowball themselves every day because there's no unity.
Right.
Hmm.
No unity, and they don't know their cost per mile, the
Mhm.
operating cost. Okay, so you just said you would negotiate to 2,000 flat rate.
I would. I'll get their ass.
Okay. All right. Now this is where broker transparency comes in. How much
Mhm.
do you think me, the freight broker, how much you think I profited off that load?
Well, if let's say if you profited 4,000, but my profit margin for me was like, if I make $1,500 maybe on a $500 load, I still win. A good deal is a deal where we both kind of get felt like we get fucked a little bit. I feel like I'm getting fucked a little bit, like he's getting me a little bit, and the broker probably feel like he's giving me too much. So
Okay.
that makes it a good deal. Nobody's satisfied.
Okay, so if you made 2,000, right?
Mhm.
And you don't know this, but I just made 1,600,
Mhm.
how much you think the shipper paid for that load?
You made 1,600. I made 2,000. I mean, the shipper probably paid what 3,600 or
There's
30,
4,000.
3,600. That's why
Yeah.
broker transparency is important.
Mhm.
3,600, and I just made 2,000, and you made damn near as much as I just made, and you did a phone
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. But the only point that I would lean on is that there's a carrier out there who does know how to negotiate that will blow
Oh,
all
for
this
sure,
up.
for
So
sure. But
it wouldn't even matter if I negotiated high. That's why I kind of think a little bit we kind of want to go in a room. It's supposed to be we go in a room and we work the best deal out. each man work the best deal out, and it's hard to be like that and have transparency at the same time.
Well, yeah, but if you on spot market, let's say if you're working off spot market,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a broker call me, and I say, you paying 2,000? I say, all right, I do it for 2,500. And you say,
Mm-hmm.
nah, I can't do that, man. I only got, they like to lie, say I only
Yeah,
got 1,000 into it, something, and they hang up, and then they call somebody else, and somebody else does it for 2,000. Without broker transparency, you wouldn't feel like a jackass knowing that you just left all that money on the table. That broker just made 1,600,
I do.
and you
Yeah, I
made
do.
2,000. That's damn near. Me and my wife did the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That broker made 49.2% profit margin, damn near 50.
And I'm fair enough to believe they can work both
Or
ways.
no,
But
I apologize. I apologize, fellas.
mhm.
39.2, damn near 40. My bad. My bad.
Well, it's fair. I'm fair enough to believe that transparency can work both ways. But I know that it's a lot of guys out there who can negotiate, and it's people out there because their CPM is different, or because they just want to take cheap freight, and they're so focused on I gotta do a low right now to get paid that they fuck the game up. The game ain't
Now,
messed up by people who trying to hustle. The game messed up by people who in the way.
right.
And it's a lot of people who in the way when you really
Mm-hmm.
out here trying to get some money and you're negotiating. So I've been in deals where it'd be a low board and I call it, I negotiate the fuck out. I'm like, man, I got my nuts dropping. I done, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And got this broker ass like this low paying
And that's why
1,800
we need
going 300 miles.
to.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why we need to continue to educate people as much as possible because that was a real load I just gave you. If y'all can go to YouTube and look up Brandon the Freight Broker, he's a bald black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what he said in that video?
He made light skinned dude,
Yeah,
slim.
yeah, Slim.
Yeah,
Guess what he
yeah,
said in that video?
yeah. What would
What'd
he
he say?
say?
He said, "These are how brokers think. This is why truckers need to be educated." Because this is what he said in the video. He said, "Man," he said, the shipper only paying 3,600. He said it really ain't that much money. I'm about to hit a home run. I'm about to find a carrier out there that's just looking for gas money. And he found
Mm,
one. And he found one. He found a sucker.
mm. That
He literally said, I'm looking for a carrier that's just looking for gas money.
as we educate people, hopefully we can eliminate the suckers, man, because they in the way, bro. Like I used to have loads, and I used to kind of segue through my peoples, and people used to lowball and say, "Okay, I do for 350." I still give them the 500, bro. I give them the full allotment because I ain't believe in shit, people. I really believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, damn, bro, you really in the way. And
Yeah.
if I ain't have a genuine heart, you could have
Yeah.
shortcome another carrier who out here trying to make a living for their
Yeah.
family.
But guess
Yeah,
what? That goes back to what I'm talking about. Deregulation made it possible for that. It
yeah,
made it possible for everybody to come in and drive down rates because in deregulation it says, and Jimmy Carter even said this. He said it brings in competition.
mm,
So now I can freely, without morals and without any stuff on my soul, I can come in and cut the fuck out of you, Alante and
yep,
Marcus, and I can come in and take it for 50 cents if I want to.
yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's
so
why we need to educate people on deregulation.
I want them to kind of like put back some kind of guard barriers and
Yes.
get people in the FMC and say, I don't want government interference, but damn it, man, it's too damn easy for people to come in and get in the goddamn way.
I'm not
It's people
I,
out
saying
here.
I,
that I'm not saying we need heavy regulation, but we need
Mhm.
something.
We
We
need
drowned
something,
it out
bro.
here.
We
It
need a
needs to be
wall.
revised. We need a new proposal.
I need a
The wall.
wall.
I went to
Yeah,
the build the
yeah.
FMC and build a wall.
I think
Yeah.
that I think the,
Build a wall.
I think the best thing you can do. I think you made a good point. Like you said, you talk about you know these rates and stuff like that. People taking whatever. I think when people are taking these cheap rates, like you said, they're in a rush. They just want to keep moving. They don't have no patience. They don't have no education. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But I do think, yeah, like what CDO said, as far as we need a little bit of regulation. And I think the
100% right.
regulation, and then you made a good point too, Alante, as far as the regulation for get, you have to limit the number of people that can become a trucking company.
Yeah.
You have to make it harder for people to become a freight broker. I was talking to my wife outside. I was like, if I would have done it all over again for what I know, I said I would have become a freight broker.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
then I was like, it's not the point of the money
But
because you can make money being a freight broker without hitting people over the head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you made 20, 25% margins, that's still good money, right? Especially if you got a
Mhm.
consistent contract.
Yeah.
But it's I just said all I need to do is get paid $1,500 for a bond, and I'm in
Yep.
business. I have to do nothing else.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about all this if the this IRP, all of this, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
1,500, and I'm in the game now. I can hit the ground running. You know,
Right.
so it's just one of those things that yeah, it needs to be more difficult for people to get into this industry. It needs to be more difficult for people to make money in this industry, especially for on the broker side. There needs to be broker transparency, but you know, only way that can happen is like we had it back in the day with the commission, right? So there
Yeah,
has to be some
man.
type of it has to be some type of commission that's
For
going to
I
be in
think
sure.
so too.
charge
I agree
in
with you,
charge of that
CDL.
to where the broker is going to have to send that to the commission. The commission's
Yeah.
like, no, 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 it needs to be this,
Yeah.
you
That
know.
way, both people
But
wins. That
correct,
way, the broker wins and the
Yeah.
trucker wins.
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah. It needs to be revised.
it needs to be revised. And if you look at it, you're like, okay, if you are really hitting these truckers over their head, you won't have no trucks. You won't have no
Yep.
trucks. And then
Yep.
these brokers are now what are you going to do? They're going to have to be asset based, and that's the last thing they want to do is be asset based because
Now,
assets equal money.
I had a broker say this to me this week too. This is another scenario. Broker said that the shipper hit him up and said, "Hey, we got a load here, but we think it's going to be impossible to get this moved in, today or tomorrow because it's in a rural area." Guess what? The shipper was actually paying over market rate because that was such a high volume load in a bad area. They needed it moved ASAP. The broker found, by the luck of God, the grace of God, the broker found the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The over market value that load went for, that shipper paid, the broker pocketed that because guess what? I had to find that. I had to find that truck. I had to
Mhm.
find that truck under pressure. Do y'all think that's right?
If it's a
You know, I hate that.
yeah, go
Go,
ahead.
go ahead, Marcus.
No, no, I was just saying if it's a last minute situation like that, the broker did have to do some work, I would say, but
Mm-hmm.
did he get this truck driver off the load board, or did he get it from one of his personal? Hey, I know this person that's in this area, right? So it all depends on that. I don't like it when brokers make a bunch of money and all you doing is posting on the load board and you wait for people to call you.
Mm-hmm.
There are a good amount of brokers that have a good book of truck drivers. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
they actually pay them solid. But it all depends on what actually that broker had to do. Because if you just put it on a low board and you cross your fingers too, then I still think you should pay a fair wage and also pay that driver, especially in the area that it is.
Yeah. Yeah. This is their argument, though. Their argument is we're only taking a load that one time for them.
True.
They got a responsibility and a relationship, a long term relationship with the shipper.
Hmm.
And they always say that they take a lot of L's and they eat a lot of L's from day to day. But if they can
Hmm.
get over on it, if they can have a chance to get over on the carriers, they will. And
They
that's how they
will.
justify it. That's how they justify it. I listen to a lot of freight brokers and I talk to a lot of them, and they all say the same thing.
But
This
that's why.
everything I just said, they say the
But
same
that's
thing.
why it's. But that's why you said the at the end of the day, it goes to the carrier being educated.
Yeah.
The carrier has to be educated. The carrier or the truck driver or the owner operator, they have to be educated. They have to have low costs. They have to be able to say no. One of my earlier videos, I said you have to put yourself in a position to say no and
Right.
not be like, oh, I should have took that one. I need to take that one. You have to
Right.
have the ability to put yourself in a position to say no. Because if you don't, you're gonna take anything. Because your patience is gonna be low. You got bills, and you just willing to take anything. So
Yep.
it all
Yep.
comes down to the carrier. You know, if the carrier is smart, then the brokers won't be able to run game, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, man, I always lean back on this, bro. I'm more of like a Dame Dash of mindset. I want to do honorable business. I don't want to do nothing. And there's been a lot of times in insurance, I can sprinkle a little dust on something. You
Mm-hmm.
know how many times I
Mm-hmm.
could do that, bro?
Mm-hmm.
And then my finance company tells me to do it. Sprinkle more dust on it. You know, they won't notice. I never have done it, bro.
Yeah.
Why do
Yeah,
I want to do? Why do I want to take advantage of somebody?
but people,
I want
Gotcha.
my money. I
if
want
people,
what's mine. But
Right.
outside what's mine,
but
bro. So that's a characteristic of that individual.
Right.
and then
Right.
it's also the business that you're in too, right? You
True.
know, a lot of people do a lot of grimy stuff in this industry because they might not be in business next week. They might
True.
not.
Yep.
This might be
That's
the
true.
only person that I can hit a lick on. So
That's
they're
true.
just taking advantage because you don't know. They don't. These people don't even think that's doing this. I might not even be around here too much
That's
longer. You know what I'm
you
a
know,
saying?
big
So I
chunk.
got
yeah.
to hit a lick. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people. A lot of people hit a licks in our industry, bro. We talked about the
Yeah.
factors.
True.
Everybody that got their
Yeah.
hand in your pocket and they like this and they throwing extra on there, and you got so many
True.
people hitting you up. You like, well, okay, I'll pay it because you're not even paying attention. You just want them to pay it and go away. You know.
Truck is
Right.
the same thing
Right.
too, though. Truck is
That's
the same thing.
what
They make a
that's what I'm
they do
saying.
a, they book a load. I don't know. I gotta get my truck fixed. I gotta pay my insurance. I gotta pay my rent. So same thing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the thing.
You
That's the
know.
thing I've noticed, bro. Having a trucking company, bro. Everybody in your pocket, so it's really hard,
Mhm.
especially if you're a one man operation or two people. You trying to pay attention to everything and see like, why am I doing? Why I got this? Like I said about the insurance, the non-owned trailer and the trailer interchange. Why I got both? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like hold on,
Mhm.
like oh yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need both. Well, you the insurance, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
your expertise. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is, man. And I know my first insurance people I was with, I know they probably hit a lick off me because some of the things they were saying, I was like, what? But I didn't have
Whew.
nobody. I didn't have nobody to be like, "Hey, yeah, that's not right." I'll just, it's just stuff like that. But it's just this industry, man. It's just everybody hitting licks off of the trucker
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
bro.
Yeah,
trucker
man.
doesn't have the knowledge.
Bro, let me tell you something. When I first started going hard on Alex Good Energy on his bitch
Mhm.
ass, bro,
Oh
I
damn.
had somebody that's very big in this industry. I'm not going to tell their name, but I had somebody that was very big in this industry hit me up last year and told me, and I was cool, still cool with this person. We just don't see eye to eye on some things, but tell me, hey, you need to lay off of Alex, man. You need to lay off. And I'm like, why? Man, we all know he ain't in the industry like that. We all know he's scamming, trying to do this and that. We all know. But one thing about Alex is he about his money. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's fucking up people out here. And that person was like, yes, that's true. We all know that. But he realizes that he only got a short amount of time to
Mm-hmm.
make a big buck. To basically what you said, Marcus, hit this lick
Correct.
Mhm.
and get out. And basically that's what he's done. Now he's still in the industry, but hey, that course money and all that then dried up, and he living off of that. And still, I was gonna make a video about this, and I still might do it.
No, he
Saying,
back. The boy back. The
say,
boy back.
say, saying, I don't know why he's able to walk around freely and nobody punched him in his face yet because he's showing people every day what he's done with their money. His lifestyle. He's literally throwing it in your face. What he's done with your money that you bought from the course.
This is why, like I said, when I talked about what you did last year, I think last year what you was doing was amazing because a lot of people that you talked about, on here in private, they not moving the same way. They can't,
Mm-hmm.
because you out there and they know. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like that. That's doing when you
I
doing.
love a CDL.
I love it too, but I'm saying
I
a
ain't
lot
gonna-
of people that's doing the scamming don't like that
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. They thought people are in this industry are stupid or dumb. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they think. So I can hit a lick off this person. This person paying this for this person this and this. That's just what it is. So what's is great about us, we tell you, we tell them people that hey, I'm gonna do the trucking thing. All right, bro, you got this and this and this. No, I ain't got that. Don't get into trucking. We telling you don't do it if you're not ready. If
Right.
we were really trying to scam people, yeah, you can do it. Sign up for my course. I'll show you how to do it. And then you'll be out of business in 6 months. But shit, I hit 10K off of you.
Yeah.
10K,
yes,
10K, 10K, 10K. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I think that's what's good about our platform, bro. Is like people come to us. I get questions all the time, bro. Should I do this? I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about this? And I'm very honest. I'm like, bro, if you worried about this and this, don't do trucking, bro. You know what I'm
What's the
saying? If you
slogan? Learn
uh,
before you earn.
Mm-hmm.
learn before you earn, man. Like, a lot of people hit me up as far as like when they first get into the industry. Oh, I just got my CDL. I'm working for a big company. Okay, cool. So so how do I be owner operator? I'm like, work for that big company for 2 years. Oh, why you say that? Get your experience, bro.
They
Your
don't want
first
to do
2 years of
that.
your career, yeah, your first 2 years is about getting experience. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want to work for somebody like me that has a small trucking company, I can't hire you unless you got 2 years of experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
put the work in, and people don't understand that, man. And then some people be like, "Oh, I didn't even know it was like that. They didn't even tell me that." Yes, bro. So you got to understand if you're trying to be an owner operator, what does it take to be an owner operator? That's like me and Alante talk about. Well, you got to know the roadmap. What's the roadmap? Roadmap to getting to where you want to get. And we always talked about you need to know your goal. What's your
Mm-hmm.
goal in trucking
Yeah, your
before you even get
business
in
plan.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, just your business plan. But what's your goal?
Yeah, your
Are you want to? Do you
company's
want to?
goal.
Yeah,
Like,
what's
yeah,
you as a person, like
true.
you getting into this industry? Yeah, why you get into this industry for what? You want to do this for
Mm-hmm.
20 years?
Right.
No. You want to do this for 5? No. Do you want to do this and then get real estate? Okay, yeah. Do you want to just do this to provide for your family? Like you got to have a plan. A lot of people
Right.
get in this and just say, oh, "I'm gonna make 100K and I'm floating." Nah, bro, you got to get into this and be like, "Okay, I want to do this for 5 years, get this money, save up, and invest in real estate." And maybe I'll just do that. Or I
Right.
do this for 5 years, I save my money, and I become an owner operator. But people get into this industry with no plan. They jump in it, not even looking at the water. They just jumping in, don't care how deep it is.
My thing is, why does everybody these days want to be an owner operator? I know everybody want to be their own boss and all this, and during COVID, it became famous to be your own boss. But once again, I go out here to these truck stops and I talk to people that do lease purchase programs and things of that nature. Bro, I talked to two people. I talked to one person 2 weeks ago, and I talked to two people today. All three of them didn't know, and they on a lease purchase program. All three of them got an LLC. All three of them didn't know that, guess what? The money that the company pay you is supposed to go into your LLC bank account, dumbass, and then you take it and
Mm-hmm.
you pay yourself. All
Yep.
three of them was taking that money and just blowing it how they blow it, whether it's bills or whatnot.
Correct.
You're gonna get in trouble with the IRS. You don't know that?
Correct. And like how we talked about, you got you know, I love this conversation because at the end of the day, it goes back to the slogan. You got to learn before you earn. You got to understand these things before you do this. When I did like a 3-part series on Parliament talking about owner operator, and I tell them like, yo, once you become an owner operator, you are a business. So
Yes.
now you need to know. Now you need to know that you are not just okay, Marcus. No, you're a business, so you gotta have business principles. You gotta know the business. You gotta know what it takes to structure your LLC. You gotta know how to get paid. You gotta know your finances. You gotta know everything because now you're a business. People think they want to be an owner operator because they think they're gonna make more money, but with more money comes more responsibilities.
More
So people want the people,
problems.
yeah, more problems. So
Woo!
you want the money, but you don't want to do the responsibilities and the problems.
Yeah.
Don't be owner operator. And then but
Yeah.
then you want to work as a company driver. But not knowing when you're an owner operator, you gotta work 2 times harder. People don't
Maybe,
understand
maybe,
that.
maybe 10 times harder, man. You
There you
know,
go.
I was just talking to Marcus the other day about, we were on the phone talking about how one of my guys who can't even got insurance, he follow our podcast. He follow this Pray Fridays.
Oh,
And he
shout out to him.
specifically, yeah, he
Shout out.
specifically asked about your CDL. And he's a 9-year truck driver, company driver. He got his owner op, he got his own truck back in May, right? And he's recently having truck issues. And he said, man, I never had this problem. He just go to dealerships. He doesn't have a community. So a lot of it is I see someone like him, and we talk about learning before you earn. I'm like, damn, man, it's nice to have somebody that he can reach out to us to learn. You
Right.
Yeah.
know,
You say he asked about me?
yeah. He said, man, CDL. He
Oh,
said, yeah, CDL from North
his
Carolina,
name start with an S.
bro. I'm bad with names, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
9-year company
He here in
driver.
Charlotte.
Yup, yup,
Yeah, yeah.
yup.
I've met him, man. Hey, that's a good dude, man. I
Sound
met
like
him, and not to
a
cut
good
you off,
dude.
but But I met him. He called me up from my mentorship program, but I was in Jacksonville, just fresh out of heart transplant surgery.
Mm,
And I told him I wouldn't be able to do anything with him or anything like that. Give me some time to heal up when I get back to Charlotte. If it's okay with you, I'd like to meet you. And we sit and talk, and it was cool. And I just went to go see him last week, man. I pulled
mm,
up on him last week. He hopped in my car. Me and him chopped, man. We chopped it up for about almost a good hour, hour and a half, man. Real good guy. But
mm.
yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I know who you're talking about.
And speaking of his situation, he had a death problem. I mean, and because he doesn't have a community, he took it to the dealership.
Yeah.
And the first thing I responded was, "Why didn't you go get your death deleted?" And I don't know whether you believe in that, but I believe in your death deleted.
Oh, I believe
Um,
in it too.
okay.
But you know what? They outlawed it, and then not only did they outlaw it, but at some way stations, not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but at some way stations, they got a death delete detector.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not at all of them yet, but they got them some at
Mm,
the big ones, the new ones that they've been building up
mm,
that you may see out there on
mm,
the road. They got the whole shop in the
mm-hmm.
back and all that. Yeah, they got a detector where they can detect that now.
Well, it's a dirty game because obviously you want to get a truck that's pre-death,
Right.
but damn it, insurance is kind of outlawing those.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I was trying to say about the Democrats and Kamala and everybody. Yeah, I know we wanted a black woman in there, and I'm not about to get political on y'all because I'm not political at all.
Mm-hmm.
But just this standpoint, the EPA, they were all for the EPA. If they would have had it their way, and Trump, and I don't trust him and Elon Musk either because we all know Elon got the Tesla truck, so y'all can tell I'm in the middle of the street. But if they would have had it their way, they wanted everybody to be EPA by the year 2032.
Mm.
What you think that would have done to our industry? It's already going to do it to industry because we can't stop it unless Trump reverses it and sign laws into effect for it to reverse. But they still got that plan in effect to 2027. We're going to see
Mm.
what Trump does when he gets in the White House, either if he's going to do it in his first year or if he's going to wait till 2027. But Kamala and them signed that back. They got They got into White House in 2020, so they signed it into effect. I think, don't quote me, but either 2021 or 2022 with the EPA. You have to go check out their EPA plan on their administration.
So Jesse Beeman, he said, I think Cali would take your truck if you do that. That is very true. They will take your truck.
That's fucked
He said
up.
they built a big state shop that will hold your truck until you pay to fix it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's true. In California,
Damn,
yeah, they will take your truck if you come in there with a pre was it pre emissions or pre
pre-emissions,
1999?
pre-emissions.
Yeah, you come with that truck. They won't let you enter, or if you do, they do find you in the state with it. They will take your truck and pay a fine, and then you have to pay. You have to pay the tow truck bill to tow it out of California because then they're
That's
gonna
so
let you drive it
stupid.
in California. So yeah, 2010 and below. Oh, I think it's 2012. I think it's 2012 now. Yeah, it's 2012. But yeah, man, California. It's and then now also too in California you got to do. This is the reason why I moved my company to Wyoming. I know all this stuff because I live here.
Yeah,
But also too, you have to do. So you know how you guys get small trucks on your cars. You got to do that on trucks now. So now you got to get a small truck. I think every year or it might be annual or biannual. But now you got to get a um a small check, and you got to submit that to the California Air Resources Board just for that. So yes, the EPA, which is crazy. You would think why is the EPA in trucking, but yeah, the EPA holds a lot of weight, and they do a lot of things with those trucks. Oh, every 3 months. See, he said every 3 months you got to
wow,
get a small check. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense about what's going on. I hope I feel like when Trump gets in there, he's going to change a lot of things, and hopefully he takes a lot of regulations away in trucking. And this is just really just as far as just to be able to run the type of truck you want to run. But this also goes
right,
into those dealers. They make a lot of money. When I remember I was talking to one dealer. I said, "What's the number one reason why you guys have trucks coming here?" This was a dealer because I bought one of my trucks from the dealership. Good guy, But they take care of me. But I was like, what's the number one reason why trucks come in here? He said death. Death is the number one reason why death related issues are the number one reason why trucks come in to get looked at. Because you can't go to a lot of places to get that fixed. You have to go to the dealer. And
Damn.
then don't let it be I got Cummins in my engine. Detroit, you're good, but don't let it be a Packard. Don't let it be a Mack Volvo engine. You have to go to these dealerships. So that's how they make their money. They make more money off of the shop than they do on actual truck sales.
Man,
The shop is
I
the
got a Russian shop.
money maker.
I got a Russian shop down here that still do.
For sure.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah,
pilot
they
right
still do.
now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I don't see like if honestly if I'm in the South, I'm in the A area, I'm in North Carolina, South Carolina, I do South, I go to Florida. I still think it's not that big of an issue. It
Mm-hmm.
depends how you run.
Yeah.
You go to Mississippi, Louisiana, these country areas, they're not really checking
They
for it.
don't they don't
And
care. They don't care.
nah, nah.
Midwest, a lot of spots in the Midwest.
Yep, yep,
But the
yep.
only thing I do know, because my buddy did his, he deleted his, but he had to go to the shop. He had to go to a
Mhm.
dealer because no shop couldn't fix his issue. So the dealer said, "Well, we technically can't work on your truck because your def is deleted. So we have to make sure everything is up to code for the def for us to fix the issue on your truck." So he had to pay for all of that, 10 grand.
Whew.
Damn.
So if you're gonna do that, you better make sure you got a shop because you can't go to the dealer. The dealer won't work on your truck if
Mhm.
your def is deleted. They
Yeah, for
won't touch
sure.
it. They won't touch it because that's
For sure.
taking money out their pocket.
Yeah,
So why would I fix this other non-def issue when you don't have our moneymaker installing and working on your truck?
for sure.
It's
For
a
sure.
cold game.
Mm,
It's a cold game.
mm.
I don't believe in dealership working on my trucks anyway. I believe you
True.
find a good mechanic. It's hard to find a good mechanic. Like it's hard to find a good factory company. It's hard to find a good insurance guy. It's hard to find a good mentor.
Oh,
All
I
these
could.
things are hard,
Yeah.
but we got them all right here in front of you. But
The
nonetheless, if you got a good mechanic and he can squeeze you in there, somebody who really want to work and get the money, they like you can call them on a Tuesday, say, "Hey, bro, my truck got this going on. All right, bro, I can have it back to you on Thursday." You know, I like 12.7 Detroit's. I got some amigos here in the A. I could drop my truck off in the morning, pick it up and have a brand new engine the next morning,
yeah, for
rebuild.
sure.
Yeah.
They just want the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you got good mechanics like that can keep you on the road, bro, because it's all about consistency.
But one thing I can tell you about these mechanics, because I got a good shop out here in Cali, really good shop. But they told me what's happening, and it's been happening. It's been happening across the United States. So, can you still hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's been happening with these mechanics, right? So small mom and pop shops. So you're gonna start seeing. Well, you probably already see it. Well, I see it because I go across everywhere, and I see certain places ain't got no shops. A lot of these a lot of these smaller mechanics in these smaller shops are going out of business because
Mm-hmm.
what you got what that shop got to do is say, hey man, I need a new radiator, right? Where do
Mm-hmm.
you got to go to get that radiator? You got to go to the dealer.
Yeah,
So what the
for
dealer is,
sure.
so what the dealer does, they charge that shop double the price because they got the parts. See what I'm saying? So the
Mm-hmm.
dealer is
Mm-hmm.
punishing the shop. So what they do is they mark up their parts so high where the shop can't afford it. So there's been plenty of times my shop would tell me, you need to call. Because if we call, the price of that part is going to be double, sometimes triple. I'm like, you
But
lying. So he's like,
you,
bet.
you
Tell me the price of this. Yeah, go ahead.
you can't get an aftermarket part.
You can get an aftermarket part, but what if you in the middle of somewhere where all you got is a
Oh,
dealer? You know what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
the dealer now got aftermarket parts. So you got to go to the dealer, right? And
mm-hmm.
then when I was, so I'll tell you an instance. I was in Denver when I paid a 20K transmission, right? The people that made the transmission, to rebuild the transmission, everything, they had a location in Denver. No, Salt Lake City. They was in Salt Lake City. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get it from them direct. If I get it from them direct, I know I got a good price. They was
Yeah.
like, we can't sell it to you. You have to buy it from an authorized person. I said, who's the authorized person in this area? They said the dealer. So they don't even let you buy it from them because the dealer got everything sewn up. So that's what the dealer do. They get the parts and everything sewn up, and then they gonna either tax you on the labor if you come in as a trucking company, or they gonna tax the part to where it's so high you should have just went to the dealer. So that's why when you
Right.
start looking at the landscape of trucking, it's getting rid of all the small shit, and now there's just gonna be big dealers and everything, and making sure you go to them. And that
So,
sucks, bro. So that's taking away the competition.
yep. So I'm glad you said that because I wanna segue into this question. And before I do that, Alante, you got anything to capitalize on what Marcus just said? I don't want to cut you
Is
off.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So whenever I have my trucking company, I ran my company in the way we had certain routes, and along those routes, I knew that if something catastrophic happened, A, I can get a tow back to the A. B,
Right.
let's say it was in the rural South Carolina area. I had mechanics in that area that can fix it,
Mm-hmm.
and or I can get it fixed just enough to get it back to the A. Because I know
Exactly.
once I got back to the A, I can get any part. It's the A got all kind of parts. We got
Yeah.
aftermarket. I mean, I can go to the dealership at Freightliner on Forest Park at 10 at night.
Yeah.
I think that's 24 hours. That was
No,
24 hours.
they 24 hours. Freightliner
So
24 hours.
so I ran my company in a way to where that I wasn't really worried about where I would get my parts from, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Now
Yeah.
sometimes given because I had a glider, I had to get custom made parts. Like my my drive shaft had broke, and I had like a 98 drive shaft in my I had a 92 drive shaft in my glider, and I
Ooh.
had to get them custom
Oh,
built.
dog.
Yeah, it was the chassis was built for like a pulling. It could pull a wall off a house, bro.
Oh
That
yeah.
truck was
Right.
I
strong.
love.
Like,
I love them old dogs. Hey, you want to make CDL Shorty mad? Put me in a brand new 2024 truck. The plastic ass
yeah.
garbage cans. That's all they are, plastic garbage cans.
What you about to
Yeah, man.
segue into though, bro?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now what I was going to ask you guys is, what do y'all think about capitalism inside of the industry?
Mm. Go ahead, Marcus.
Capitalism is why people get into any industry.
Mm.
You want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make money. You want to make as much money as you want as you can in a certain time period. Some people want to make it in a short time period. Some people want to do it in the long run. But without capitalism, you won't have, jobs for people. I know a lot
But
of people talk about like, if there's no capitalism, there's no jobs. Because if there's nothing out there that I want to make money with, then I can't provide jobs for somebody to work for me. So capitalism goes hand in hand. You got to have capitalism.
but
You have to.
with capitalism, because somebody told me that I was wrong for thinking like this. With capitalism, if you're the boss of that company and you got employees, is it right
Yep.
for you to shortchange your employees or talk shit about your employees or treat them like shit because of capitalism?
Mm.
I,
Mm.
I can tell you this. I can tell you this. The best companies have the best culture. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's all about culture. You,
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm.
you have to, you have to have a good culture. People leave because of a bad culture. People will stay and take less money because of a good culture. It's all
Okay.
about having culture. Just because you're making money and stuff like that doesn't mean you downgrade anybody. Of course not. You know,
Okay. So,
but I definitely believe in setting the standard
yeah.
and having a culture for sure.
Okay. So another thing that somebody asked me too was, in capitalism, when things start going downhill, and what I'm trying to get at is people don't respect employees, i.e., drivers, because we all know when capitalism does what it does, who's the first to lose a job? The employees, the workers.
Yeah.
What companies do? They always layoffs is high. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why is that? And then somebody was like, oh, you don't understand capitalism. So now I'm researching and trying to study capitalism as well. And I just wanted to ask y'all to how y'all felt about that.
Well, we all talk about like you talk about the CPM. You talk about knowing your costs, keeping your costs low, and everything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not bringing in enough money, if the company's not bringing enough money, then all you're doing is you're keeping people, but you're not making the money for that company to survive.
Mhm.
So then at the end of the day, eventually that business is going to go out of business.
Yeah.
So what you have to do, that's the reason why you have layovers and you have layoffs and all of that. You're cost cutting because you want to make sure you still have a business to keep it
Yeah.
going until another opportunity arrives. So you
Gotcha.
need it is necessary, right? It is necessary that it happens all the time and it sucks. But sometimes a business will get overzealous. Sometimes you might have too much on the books and you got to trim. You got to sell equipment, get rid of certain type of certain employees just to trim the fat so you can survive the downturn.
Yeah.
Because that's what's been happening. COVID, everybody hired everybody. There's so many
Yeah.
people. I got to hire everybody. But then when the
Right.
downturn came, you have to lay off because you can't afford it. Because if you
Right.
continue to pay them, now I'm out of business. So it's not like they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it for a reason, cost cutting and stuff like that. That's what you're supposed to do it for. But yeah, as far as your capitalism point is just you need capitalism for people to have jobs. They go hand in hand.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
want I want I want to add my point. So capitalism is, in my opinion, is an economic system where anybody from any race, color, creed, as long as they have a certain intrinsic value,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's going to be reflective in the market. So we're all individuals, want to gain more value. And as we gain more value, we can ask for more. That's what capitalism is, essentially. So
Yeah.
you have everyone trying to get more and more value, companies trying to get bigger and bigger, have the best products that produce competitive nature. Now, people treating people, being assholes to people upon climbing the corporate ladder, that's just people character. I
Yeah.
think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, like I've been hearing this sentiment recently where we want to kill the CEOs, where we want to kill the rich people. And I don't think we should live in a country where, and I'm not saying by this is you at all, CDL, but we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about capitalism
Mm-hmm.
and people just resenting capitalism. Um, I don't think it's okay to live in a country where people want to kill the rich people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a reflect of people hating capitalism right now. But, bro, I think also people don't want to learn. People don't want to learn more, earn more. They just want
Yeah.
to be
But
given
with
more.
that,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, my wife is in a whole different tax bracket than I am, right?
Mhm.
Bro, do you know how much the wealthy get taxed? And y'all probably can attest to this, Marcus. Yeah.
Yep.
Bro, taxes is ridiculous. And I understand, the
Mm-hmm.
government's trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, but
Yep.
it's like it is kind of a form of kill the CEO, um,
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And that's what, and also, not to go off on a tangent, but that's what people don't understand about Donald Trump.
Mhm.
Yo, Donald Trump, like his taxes, like not last year, but his last term, my wife showed me how much he paid in taxes. A ridiculous amount. He's for the corporations. It's
Mhm.
not for the
Mm-hmm.
small people. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just my little tangent on that.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but I feel like capitalism has a powerful place because you got to think capitalism is what drives immigrants from all over across this country to get here because they know if I get here, I
Yeah,
can provide a value and I'm
yeah,
a boom past these lazy motherfuckers.
yeah, yeah.
Because if you think about the majority of our people, like I had a conversation the other day. This is a good segue.
Mhm.
We was in a barber shop and I'm talking to my barber, and he was telling me why black people are spiritually against life insurance. And I'm like, bro, he was giving me all kind of he'll like, how can you insure somebody's life? How can you it's a spirit going on behind that because when that person dies, you get money out of it. And I said, bro, the truth has a perspective on it. We all it's an apple. We all can look at it different ways and get a different viewpoint of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm just that don't make us wrong or right. We just got perspective on it.
Right, right, right. And a lot of people like to throw out generational wealth.
Hmm.
Life insurance is how you build generational wealth. Like it can get you out of debt because you do know once somebody dies, you take on that person's debt in your family. So it can get you out of debt. And let's say if somebody dies, God forbid somebody dies, and they took care of all their debt. Now
Hmm.
they just left you free money to go invest in something to carry on the
Mm-hmm.
family name.
I want to add that once we get the nonprofit started, part of the union dues can go to some life insurance policy for truckers.
Oh, for
Cause
sure.
so many of these guys is down over the road. So many of these guys don't got no basic retirement plans,
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
need
Like
something, bro.
Yeah, and I'm 100% with you on that. Like the trucker's health thing,
Yeah,
you know,
bro.
my heart attack. I follow a guy named Trucker Brown. He
Hmm.
just had a stroke. He in the hospital right now. And he's a trucker. He been trucking. He got into trucking the year before I did. I think he got in 2014. I got into 2015. So he been out there for a minute too, and he just had a stroke. You know, also I want to try to get. I'm about to go on a whole campaign about trying to get tropical smoothie in truck stops. Now that's one of my
Hmm.
favorite places. Me and my wife
Mm-hmm.
go there religiously. But think about if we had that. And I talked to my wife. We were sitting in there the other day, and I asked her. I said, "Do you think if we actually put one of those in a truck stop, do you think truckers would actually buy that, or would they miss McDonald's and stuff?" Because I saw Mother Trucker put out a thing just yesterday talking about um, gyms in truck stops, and he had a poll on how many truckers would use it and stuff like that. And I wanted to comment on it, but I didn't. But what I wanted to say was, bro, that already happened. That experiment already happened. You can go all over this country and go to the TA truck stops and the Petros and see where they done took that room out and it's a janitor's closet or something else that they done made it into. And I talked to a few of the people that were there at the TA at the time a few years ago when I was walking through these places. I was like, why y'all take away the gym? When nobody using them.
Yeah.
Truckers wasn't using them. So, and then you had the poll, I clicked on it, and it was like 97% said, yeah, they were using. I'm thinking to myself, you lying motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
would. They would.
At the, yeah. At the end of the day, it's just yeah, the food is terrible. You know, trucking is not easy. It's not easy. You're on this road 11 hours out of the day driving, probably 14 hours really just dealing with everything in trucking. But your health is most important. You have to take care of yourself. You have to get your proper sleep. I know guys that'll be driving all day and then they'll be up for another 5 to 6 hours. I'd be like, yo, why are you up?
Yeah.
I'm just up. And you like, bro, you gotta have that discipline, that dedication in this to survive this. But that's why,
Hmm.
me and Alante was talking about this. It was like, it's and here's a so we can segue into this. I guess you can say, is trucking now a legacy or a lifetime job, or is it just a stepping
Oh,
stone?
oh, oh,
Can I
that's a
start?
good
What?
segue.
Yeah, go ahead. You start. Yeah. So
It's a.
is trucking a stepping stone, or is it a career?
Bro. I would look at all jobs as like a stepping stone.
Correct.
Either way, if I'm going to be there long term, I would go in that job knowing, okay, I'm here to position myself better for the future. And you're supposed to do that relatively quick. Like when I went to a job, I'd be there for like a year. I get a year or two. I get
Right.
everything I got to get
Right.
out of my job.
Right. Right.
All the resources. I get all the life insurance. I get to get health insurance, and
Yeah.
I squeeze it for what it's worth. And then maybe I take the money and reinvest in myself. Some kind of skill that I could better myself, so I can get either a better job. Or I'll go further. But for trucking, if you get into it, me and Marcus talked about having a we have something called roadmaps. And on the
Hmm.
roadmaps, you say, okay, I want to get into real estate. Okay. I want to go get me 4 or 5 trucks. Okay. I want to go into this other business with my trucking money. And each roadmap along the way is going to have stops or details of how you get to your journey. Everybody don't want the
Mhm.
same thing.
Right. Right.
I want to just I got the 8 trucks, and mad I got past 3.
Yeah.
Like you think you want something until you get it,
Right.
you
Yep.
know. So
I got five. I got five, and I'm trying to go down to two.
Yeah.
trust me,
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
man.
trust me.
saying? But
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think, CDL? Do you think it's a stepping stone, or is it still, the life to have or the career to have? What do you think?
So y'all know what I'm about to say. You gotta go back in history. You gotta go back in history with me.
Right, right.
So the way that trucking boomed, the World War One made it
Hmm.
boom first. World War
Hmm.
Two made it boom. World War Two made it boom so much that this is where Nixon comes into play. He created the Highway Act, which actually
Hmm.
made interchangeable, for us to go from state to state because supplies needed to be built and then transported from state to state.
The
Now,
highway
this
was
is what,
made. The highway was made for trucks. That's what
yes,
the highway and the interstate was made for. It was
yep,
made for semi trucks to transfer parts for the war from the east to the
Yep.
west, for the
You,
west to the east. Correct.
yeah, you know something, brother. Where's your bow tie at, brother? but but to get into that though, propaganda, trucking boomed on propaganda, and it made it
Yep.
a career and it made it a lifestyle
Hmm.
because it boomed because of the war. But also, you had a lot of people that were in high. Those parts that they was making for the army and stuff like that was in high demand, and it
Hmm.
actually made it a lifestyle. Then here comes the Smokey and the Bandit movies and
Hmm.
the trucker lifestyle popped and stuff like that. And I think now we moved away from that to where people look at it now as a stepping stone because you talk to people that were in it that jumped in it in 2020.
Hmm.
I say a good maybe 85 to 87% of them are not in it no more, and they use it as a stepping stone to either further themselves. They took the trucking money,
Hmm.
invested in something else, and they boomed, or they took
They
the
quit.
trucking money, yeah, yeah, and they quit, and they
Yeah.
took tails and they ran. So yeah, and I think also the propaganda that we as influencers help we had a hand in it too in 2020 with the courses and stuff like that. So, trucking, it can be a stepping stone and it can be a career depending on, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Correct.
But I think a lot of people nowadays use it as a stepping stone, man. And on YouTube, you can look at the statistics on who's watching, the ages, female, male. Bro, all of my people that watch me are between 35 and 47. No, 35 and 45.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I asked my wife. Well, I didn't ask my wife, but she told me she was like, "Babe," she's like, "The young people ain't fucking with you," because I talk, I talk about a lot of stuff that they don't care about. So I actually had an interview with a young trucker who I like very much, and I asked at the interview, I asked him, I said, "Man, why the young people don't like me?" You know what he said? And I love this cat too, but you know what he said? He said, "Man, they can't understand what you talk about. They ain't into that. They into money, and they want to know the reviews on the trucking company. That's all they into."
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
so I think it's a stepping stone now.
I think I feel we talked about this. I feel like trucking is a stepping stone for 90% of the people. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the 10% that it could be a career for, it could be for a career for people that just don't have a whole lot and
Mm-hmm.
trucking is all they got.
Mm-hmm.
Or the people that are incarcerated for 15 to 20 years and they get out and
Yeah.
they looking for something positive to do.
Yeah.
I feel like those are the people that will appreciate trucking more.
Right.
Also, too, we're not going to include this in the percentages. Immigrants, immigrants come over
Yes.
here. They come over here from nothing. Come over here. This is like gold to them. So they run it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I feel like there's a lot of truck drivers that get into this industry, and like you said, from 2020, 2021, people were glorifying trucking. It was glorified. It was like, yeah, but it wasn't glorified for the right reasons. It was glorified as a get rich quick scheme.
Yes.
So a lot of people got in and thought they're going to make money fast, and then they thought they were going to have that money forever, but then they got hit with a harsh reality of this is not easy. But
Right.
like you said, the propaganda, propaganda plays a big thing. It's funny. My wife loves the movie. Wicked, Wicked. We saw
Mm.
Wicked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we saw Wicked, and I have never seen it. I watched it with my wife. That's her thing, and the kids. But the big thing about Wicked is propaganda. Propaganda. They made the witch look like she was evil,
Yeah.
but she was very nice.
Yep.
But propaganda, people are saying, if you see one person say that person's evil, you're not going to really believe them. If you see two people, then you might be like, hmm. But if you see 10 people say this person's evil, you're going to believe them because it's
Yeah.
propaganda. You see a group. And that's what it was with trucking, 2, 3 years ago. You had this boom of people getting in because of the rates, but people are also saying this trucking thing is easy. You can make so much money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I think the people that got into this industry, the reason why they went out is because they believed that
Yeah.
and they thought they could do less and make more. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what the drivers are now. What I'm experiencing with drivers, they want to do less and make more.
Right.
But I talked to Alante. I said, but your competition as a driver is these people coming from overseas and taking
Mm-hmm.
these jobs, and you're getting mad because they're taking jobs, but it's because they want to work.
Yep.
That's
They
that's
want to work.
the thing. They
You
want
right.
to work. They want to make money, a little bit of money, but they want to work. You got to have the work ethic in this industry. So the people that don't have a work ethic will never win. No matter
Bro.
what you haul, no matter
Right.
what you haul, you won't win.
Right. Man, hey, you not lying because back in 2015, my rookie year, I was at a truck stop, a TA up in Fultonville, New York. They got a Target distribution up there and a Walmart distribution up there, and they got a TA. They got a small ass parking lot. Anyway, make a long story short, man, it was this Chinese guy, little short guy, Chinese guy. Bro, this truck stop was so tight. It was I literally used to sit in the front seat and watch people run away from a parking spot because it was just that tight. You had to be on your skills to like, or get there
Yeah,
early where the truck stop is empty so you can whip that thing how you want to.
just take a spot.
Anyway, yeah, yeah. But anyway, bro, he got there at like, I don't know what time it was. I just know it was dark and it was like damn near the middle of the night. And yo, he actually jumped out his truck, knocked on my door and a few other people's door, and wanted people to get in his truck and back it up for him. Make a long story short, he was a hustler. He would get
Yeah.
out there and drive that truck, but guess what? He didn't know how to
Hmm.
back up. And then it make you scratch your head. It's like, what truck driving school you go to? But at the end of the day, they don't care. There's trucking schools out there that don't care that your
No,
competition
but
is gonna jump in that truck and they're gonna get it from point A to point B. The backing, don't worry about the backing. You get that done later.
yeah, but that's
Wow.
what it is, and that's what
What kind of
that
kind of resolution is
yeah,
that?
Right.
yeah,
That's how it is.
but that's how it is, and I can contest to that because that's what I've been going through. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've been dealing with people that don't want to work. And then I'm on the phone trying to hire people, and you trying to give me restrictions on what you will and won't do.
Yeah.
Oh, oh no.
You know, and I told my wife, I said, look, I can speak some solid Spanish, but if I was
Mm-hmm.
like fluent,
Yeah.
I can go to Mexico right now and get three
Yeah.
drivers,
For sure.
and
For
they'll
sure.
take and they will take just give me this, I'm cool. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Mm-hmm.
when I talk to talk to these other drivers, man, he's like, hey man, you got to understand, bro. I told him, I was talking. It's crazy. Obviously I talked to my wife a lot, but I was like, look, the millionaires, because everybody want to get in truck and be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. And I said, the millionaires in the next 10 years off of trucking are going to be Latino, and they're
Mm.
going to be Indian
Mm.
or Chinese or Asian descent
Mm-hmm.
because those are the immigrants that's coming over here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So there will not be a lot of American, like, how like I'm starting a business and building that. In the next 10 years, there won't be a lot of American people off of make American trucking millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will be Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
Indian, or Asian descent because
Yeah.
those are the people that's coming over here and they're able to communicate with them. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, cool. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
But see,
And that's what I told my wife. I said, that's what's going to happen in trucking. I'm telling
well,
Mm.
Marcus, they kind of go back to the roadmaps, though. I was
you.
thinking about this, like, what
Hey,
about the one
y'all,
black dude, or what
y'all keep talking, man. I gotta run and grab something right
do you
quick.
think,
All
bro?
right. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
What about the one black dude, bro? Who lives in a rural country area, or that one white dude, or the one American, whatever the race is, they live in a rural country area, and they can get them a
Hmm.
truck. And I
Yep.
tell that one person, bro, if you live in like rural South Carolina, rural Arkansas, any rural area, rural Tennessee, and your mortgage, your rent is dirt cheap, you can run a bag up. Just get a cheap
Yeah.
truck and work
Yeah.
on it yourself. Get a cheap truck, work on it yourself, and run over the road and come home every weekend or every other weekend. But because
Hmm.
a lot of these spots, bro, country areas, they rent can be $500, six, $700.
And
You
and
know,
that's the roadmap or the successful plan for an owner operator.
Mhm.
You have to make sure your cost is unbelievably low. You got to make sure that is low. And I feel like this is what I feel. Being an owner operator, you can be successful. I would never say you can't be successful, but it's dependent on you. It's depending on your finances. It depends on your cost per mile, your expenses, and it depends on what? Your work ethic. If
Mm-hmm.
I was if I was a person that wanted to be an owner operator, be on that road all the time, I know I would kill it because my work ethic is crazy. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why when I started getting back in the truck and driving for that month, and I'm going hard and I'm looking at my drivers and I'm like, y'all not going hard like me. Now I gotta ride y'all because if I'm going hard, you should be going harder. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So there's nothing wrong with being an owner operator. I feel like I don't know if it's gonna be this year, maybe the end of this year, next year. It's gonna be really good for owner operators for one truck situations.
For sure,
I feel like
bro.
it's gonna be really good for owner operator. One truck, one MC, like those people are gonna do really good because you're dependent on yourself. But when you start to expand, that's
Yeah,
when you
man.
will lose. That is when you lose. So when you making that money as an owner operator, just stay an owner operator. Be in charge of yourself. I feel like there's going to be a rise in owner operators
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to be experiencing either you had a trucking company and then you try to expand and you like, no, I don't want that shit. Hell no. And then you just stayed with one truck or you just got one truck and like, I'm cool with just being in the one truck. I'm cool. I don't want to expand. I just want to make my money and come home and be in charge of my own shit. You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
And
bro.
and I've learned that from experience. Like if I was like I said, if I didn't have a whole ass family and all this shit, I'd be a
Sure,
one truck owner operator going everywhere, going hard and making a lot of money because my work ethic is crazy.
for sure.
Yeah,
And
that's oh go ahead, Alante. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
and CDL, I think you can contest this. I was telling Marcus about. I was gonna add you on this. It's a lot of like if you live in a rural country area, you live in Gastonia, you live in little country, little area spots, bro, where rent and mortgage is fairly cheap. You still can get a house for 1,000, 800, 700 band. And you get you a truck, bro, and you can make 5,000 a week over the road, and your overhead is low. That's where it's at. And you have to follow that discipline for a period of time so you can reap your benefits.
Yeah,
Even me.
yeah, but right. But that's where you got to go because deregulation in 1980 split up the owner operator
Mm-hmm.
because
Correct.
now they made the owner operator go to the mega carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're talking about, Marcus, is independent operator.
Yeah.
You know, owner operator goes to the leases with the mega carrier because the mega carrier got all the freight. But see
Yeah.
now the independent operator, your cost per mile, your overhead for the future has got to be low for you to be able to
Had to
even
be.
make because we now know it's no secret. Mega carriers got all the freight.
Mm-hmm.
And,
But this what I'm gonna tell you about the this is what I'm, oh go ahead. No. Go
no,
ahead and
no,
I'll go
no. Go
after you.
ahead,
Go.
go ahead, Marcus.
No,
Go ahead.
sorry. So this I want to tell you, and this is the reason why I said either the end of this year or the beginning of next year, the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026, it's going to be a rise in owner operators. The reason why I say that is with your boy coming in office, Trump coming in office, what is he going to stop? He's going to stop all this immigration stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now the American carrier is going to have to find drivers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be able to fill up these trucks,
Yeah.
right? Because what's going to be happening is a lot of these American people are going to be getting their own trucks and
Mm-hmm.
being owner operators and being independent owner
Mm-hmm.
operators. They're not going to do the lease programs
Yeah.
or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that's why I said so now the mega carriers, the brokers will be leaning and depending on
Mm.
those one truck stops. So
Oh,
in
so
it because
you think it's gonna
mhm,
flip?
I feel like it's going to flip because we had a surge of immigration because of the last administration. But with this
Yeah.
administration, they're against immigration, closing up the borders, blah, 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 right? So they're going to slow that down. So if they can't come in so easily, now you got to deal with the people that's here,
Yeah.
right? So now if I'm a big company, okay, I got to try to find people to work for me. Okay, well, they don't want to work for me because of this. All right, well, you know what? Now we're just going to broker it out. So now if you're a one truck owner operator, and an owner operator, you're going to be winning because they're going to be giving you the freight.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be like, here, man, take it, take it, take it. We got to
Well,
because we got to
to,
move it. So that's why I feel like the end of this year, it's not going to happen right away. It's going to be the end of this year or 2026. If you're a one truck owner, independent owner operator, you're going to do really well. It's going to
yeah.
be really good for you. It's going to be really good for you. I'm telling you, not the small truck companies like me, 5 trucks and all that. It's going to be good for the people that has one truck,
Mm-hmm.
MC, everything, that's it. Those are
Uh-huh.
the people that's going to make a lot of money. I know it.
Uh,
There's definitely
that's
a sweet
good.
spot in regards to margins too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
oh,
sweet
bro,
spot.
bro.
There's a sweet
Mm-hmm.
spot because now fuel is slightly decreased, and perhaps freight rates rise a little bit with the new rising market, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's a sweet spot when it comes to margins. So if you
Mm-hmm.
got two or three trucks and you're not in them, your margins are weird. But if you're in one truck, and me and Marco was talking about, I'm sorry, CDL,
No, go
but if you're in one
ahead.
truck and you got a low overhead, and you go buy another truck, and you still
Mm-hmm.
driving your one truck, and now you got your
Yep.
other truck.
Yeah,
That's good margins. Don't go
Mm-hmm.
get eight. Now, I'm not gonna say don't go get eight trucks, but grow accordingly because your margins can get fickle, and that can cause you to fail quicker.
yes,
So
yes.
what I'm looking at in my company, right? I got five trucks, and I did the numbers. I will I will most likely make more money with having two trucks running consistently than having five trucks running sometimes.
Yeah,
And even if I
I
had
can
the
believe that.
even if I had the five trucks running a good amount of time, I would still make more money. My margins would be better on two trucks instead of five. People think that when you have more trucks, you're gonna make more money. But people don't know is you're gonna make more money, but your margins are gonna be
right,
smaller
Mhm.
right,
because now you have more risk. So the more trucks doesn't equal more money, it equals more risk. So people
right.
have to understand that when you are expanding, you're having more risk and you can only be in one truck. So now I have to depend on this person,
Yeah,
and then this person, and then this person, and then this person. Not everybody you hire is going to be dependable. I
right.
believe for every one good driver, you got to go through 10.
Oh, for sure,
And
for
and
sure.
I believe that because I've done it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, my student Ashley, she was one of those people that had bought a truck, didn't have a CDL. Make a long story
Uh-huh.
short, yeah, she went through about 10 drivers, and what
Yep.
really made her think, or what really made her realize I need to go get a CDL, because she went through one driver that was a really good driver, but the thing that was wrong with him was he was running illegal sometime. So she had enough of that, so she let him go. Then she found another driver that was an okay driver. He knew how to run his clock. He would get his loads there on time. But guess what? Guess what he did to her though? You
What?
still there, Alante? Oh, okay. She faded to
Yeah.
black on me.
Bro, it's
Yeah.
snowing over here, and my lights are flickering, bro.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Oh
oh,
yeah, it is snowed out
Yeah,
there. Yep, it
it's
is.
it's
yeah.
happening in real
Hey,
time, bro. I'm in a brand new house. That's crazy.
oh, please be safe, man. Please be safe.
At least ain't
Um,
no. At least ain't these fires. Jeez.
right. But what he was doing was he was out there fucking up the truck and trailer and wouldn't even tell her. So her very last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back, was he parked the truck at the yard. He told her that he had to go home. He was sick. He ended up quitting, never came back. She finally came to the truck. She found a busted axle. She found a crack
Yep.
in the trailer frame where
Yep.
he didn't hit the
Got to.
boulder or something, and
Got to
never
do
told
it.
her. Never
Got to
told
do.
her.
Got to
So
do it.
yeah, you got to go through quite a few drivers to get that one good one or a
Right.
good few.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So nobody's, what if somebody old timer told me? Nobody's gonna take care of the equipment like you do. No matter what you
Correct.
do, no matter who you get, nobody gonna care about it like you do because they ain't put nothing on it. If they put
Correct.
something on it, then they'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take care of this and do it like that. But
Correct.
yeah, that's what I ask, and that's why I feel. I feel like everybody's gone through trying to the people that are still in the business now, the people that went from 8 trucks to 2 trucks to 3 trucks or one truck, they're gonna stay there. They're going to be like, I don't want to expand. I
Yeah.
don't want to. I just want to
Right.
make my own money. But like how you talk about, I talked about this. What you talk about this about, knowing the history. And I talked to a good buddy of mine. He was trucking for like 30 years, right? And he was like, the difference is back in the day was all you wanted was one truck because you
Yeah.
made so much money off of your own work. You didn't want to expand. Nah, I'm
Right.
good. We didn't want to expand. We got a nice truck. We took care of our truck and we made so much money. We
Yep.
never thought of going over here and getting this guy and getting this guy. If we got some work, maybe we'll give it to him, but we never thought of having we didn't want to do that. For
No.
what? We making good money. There's no point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we're good,
Yeah.
but
We didn't
that's
want to
what
do
happened.
that. But what happened was with that on the flip side, we didn't think long term.
True,
JB Hunt and Swift and everybody thought long term.
true.
Because when you go back and you look at these interviews with these old truckers talking about deregulation, they were happy. And this is when deregulation was, in my mind, was a good thing.
Mm,
It made it because at that time you couldn't get me, you, we couldn't go get a truck. Couldn't do it.
right,
You had to
right.
go buy somebody's you at that time you had to go buy somebody's MC. They had to literally
Mm,
sell you their company and nobody was budging. So you couldn't do it. Deregulation made it possible for us to go get our own truck and become our own
mm,
bosses. But
mm,
at that time, we were so happy from 1980 to 1985, those 5 years, we were living the high life. And guess what
mm,
JB Hunt and Swift and everybody else did within those 5 years? They said, okay, cool. We see y'all out there living the high life. We're going to go buy up
mm,
a bunch of these trailers. We're going to go buy a bunch of trucks. And we're going to start cutting rate and taking a penny a mile more than you.
mm,
And guess what?
mm,
Or less than you.
mm.
And guess what? We didn't think long term because now look who's ruling the industry.
Right,
They thought long term. So with that, we need something to combat that, I think.
right. But that's all. But like I was saying, and it all depends. We're not a political whatever,
Yeah.
but if you understand the red and the blue, you understand the regulations, you understand what's what. That's why
Right.
I feel like with the owner operators, this is going these next 4 years is going to be their years to shine
Yeah.
because you got somebody in here that's going to stop your competition for 4 years. You're going to
Right.
stop it, and
Yeah.
you need to go and get your money up. You're going to be making money, but you have to prepare for what's going to happen after that because we don't know what's next.
Hmm.
But like you said, is as far as this, you got to understand the future. Don't look in it right now. Yeah, you may be making money and stuff, but you got to understand what's coming, what's on.
Yeah.
But that's why they're gonna have people like us, and we're gonna be telling them,
Yeah.
all right, you're making
Yeah.
money now, but
Yeah.
I know these big companies, these major companies, are going to start depending more on owner operators because if you stop from people coming over here to work for you, now you got to depend on somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the American truck driver is not an American truck driver. Oh, they want time off. They want to be,
Mm-hmm.
this and that. They want to live that life. They don't want to go over the road. They want to be local. So now you got to start giving it to people that have their own shop just to move that
Yeah.
freight. So it's going to be a good these next I would say 3 years, or it's going to be really good for the owner operator for sure. The one truck company, one truck companies, they're going to do really well, really
Got
well.
got you.
The-
And then also what I want to say to capitalize on that is back to the ICC. Like we need something like the ICC back. Not
Yeah, for
as
sure.
heavy regulated as it was, but we need something in place because this was another good thing that they was doing. So we all know that mob and crime was at an all time high and it actually spilled into the trucking industry. Amongst brokers were regulated at one point in time too. The ICC made it possible for everybody that wanted to be quote unquote freight broker or a truck broker, you had to apply your license through the ICC because what they were
Mm,
trying to do was they were trying to weed out people that was in the mob and stuff. And in the article that you had to apply your license with, it says that you have to prove that you're in it for the betterment of moving goods across this
mm,
country for a consumer. You had to prove that. You
mm,
couldn't just get an MC or get a MC or a broker's license or whatnot and just become just hey, I'm a freight broker. No, you had to prove it, and then you had to get your license through them. And then when deregulation happened, that went away. FMCSA didn't put nothing in place. It's kind of like we got what we wished for when we said we want the government. We don't want nothing to do with the government. And the government was like, all right, cool, we're going to take our hands off. But that was the trick, though. That was the trick play. Because 40 years
mm.
later, look at what we at now.
Yeah,
And it's sad that it's 40 years. I thought it would have been 50, 60. It's 40 years. It just
yeah,
took 40 years to fuck everything up. Like, that's quick.
For real.
Yeah,
yeah.
but back to the what you was talking about, Alante, the broker profit margin. I got this article right here from Overdrive. from my man Alex Lockie, right? I
Hmm.
want to read it to y'all if I can. It says, how much money are brokers really making from owner operator hauls? The conversation around brokered freight margins might be the most continuous and heated one around trucking in today. How much do brokers make on loads you haul? How much do they deserve to make, and how can they be trusted honestly how can they be trusted and honestly report the numbers? It might be just some of the most heated conversations in trucking. All right, it's going to talk about big brokers, mega carriers, load boards, the National Owner Operators Association outright accusing big brokers, mega carriers, and load boards and other freight data analytics provides of either manipulating rate data, or allowing deception on the platforms. For instance, the NOA engages in frequent sparring matches with DAT Chief of Analytics Ken Adomo on Twitter over just how much brokers are really making off of long hauls. All right, now Adamo, for his part, he made himself available to questions and engaged skepticism and conversation feedback on the company's data products. Despite this and higher rigor in sharing sources and methodology, remaining unconvinced, and a recent 9-page study from Adamo looked at the data submitted by DAT's customer and reported back analysts or analytics of the margins posted below. As shown in the chart below, flatbed brokers came out last year with the highest means average margin of more than 15%, reefer almost 14, and dry van 13%. Do y'all believe that?
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right now. DAT is a fraud.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Even in
no
this
way.
article,
Everything they talk about DAT, I don't. But people tell me the market is this, the market is that. When you talk to a broker and they say, "Oh, the market is 2,000." Where are you getting these numbers from? Are you personally calling these other brokers and they telling you what they charging for this land? Oh, we got it from DAT. So is DAT? Where is DAT getting information from? I used to always ask that. This analytics and stuff that people have about the market, it's up and down, up and down. How we talk about propaganda,
yeah. No,
DAT
I
For
got you.
sure.
Keep talking. I'm gonna read it here in a minute. But go ahead.
yeah, DAT is a propaganda machine because all they're doing is putting numbers out there to make the smaller people think, oh, that's how much it is.
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah. I agree
getting these
with you.
numbers from?
Damn.
I agree.
Damn.
I do not believe anything that DAT says. It's all false numbers, propaganda. People, I got to understand when you're looking at DAT, those where are you getting these numbers from? I need to know. And then sometimes they say on there these numbers may not be accurate because you just throwing it
Oh,
on there.
I'm glad you said that because I just about to read that. So it says DAT gets the numbers from customers who become contributors or undergo an onboarding process where they learn to submit standardized data reporting, which is verified both by DAT and customers to be correct. According to Adamo's study, the contributors were brokers and broker carrier customers, and most submitted data directly out of their TMS system. Now, the paper contains a few ideas from avoiding brokers reaping a high margins from our hauls. Interesting for the long distance OTR crowd, the study found that margin decreased as the legal of haul increases, which Adamo attributed to fixed costs of truckers and brokers on per load basis, automizing over longer distances. The average margin under 250 miles set at 15.2%. The 1,000-mile plus load segment sees at 11.7 margins. Now, according to DAT's map, which I got right here, I got the map right here, right? I keep following me because they talk about it in here, Marcus. According
Mm-hmm.
to DAT's map, the map below shows the load origin states where brokers reap the highest margins. Another area of owner operators can get gut checked by the findings, right? But to let me see where Adamo comes in. But to get value of the report, one has to trust underlying data. A NOA spokesperson contended these numbers weren't audited by a party outside of DAT itself, and that DAT puts disclaimers on their data products warning users to use the data at their own risk, that it is not actual factual, that it is not actual, and it is not accurate.
There
Says
you
it right
go.
here.
I just
I'm not saying this out my ass, and Marcus isn't either. It says it right
Wow.
here.
Wow.
I've al- I've always thought that when I first got into this industry, and in the beginning you try to work with brokers and they hit you, well, oh, we can't work with you, blah blah blah. Then you look at the numbers, and then when I got to a point where I didn't really need a broker, you still look at the market rate. So I used to go back and forth with my shipper, right? One of the shippers I used to work with, and they use DAT. They would use DAT and say, oh, well, the market rate is this. I'm like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe. Well, the
Now
market rate.
look.
So you telling me the market rate is no? I don't believe that. There's no way that you can tell me that this information is correct. It's
Now
not.
look. It goes a little. You're right. It goes a little further. Now that's all true. The DAT's numbers line up with other publicly available figures that do undergo independent scrutiny. Publicly traded brokers who are subject to independent audits and face stiff federal fines and penalties for misconduct offer another potential example of real world margins. Now check this out. C.H. Robinson, in its last quarter release, said it made 386 million dollars in adjusted gross profits, gross revenue less labor overhead costs, on about 3.1 billion dollars in revenue. This isn't an exact broker margin calculation, but that comes out to be about 12.45% margin. Coming from C.H. Robinson, do y'all believe that?
I don't believe none of them.
I don't believe none of them. I don't believe none of them either.
You ain't got to read the rest of me. I don't believe none of them numbers that they talking about
Nah.
because I'm not going to tell you the truth of what I'm making. Why would I? Don't have to.
Right.
Business conduct has nothing to do with how much money you make. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? If I
Right.
made $1 billion, that I'm a good businessman, right? But
Hmm.
I do not believe any of these platforms that put analysis or put analytics into this industry because there's no way, even if you did call these places, there's no way they're giving you the real information. Why would they?
And,
Why
and
would
you're right. I mean, I just read it. DAT literally puts a disclaimer out there that says, "Hey guys, we're going to show you these numbers, but they're not really accurate. But we're just going to throw them out there for you anyway."
you just putting paint on the wall and you're hoping that people believe it. And you're hoping and they're hoping that they're making themselves the authority just by having numbers and having things on there just so people believe it.
So my
That's
thing
all it
is,
is.
when I just read and it said they can get heavy fines for misconduct, wouldn't that be a misconduct?
No, that's not misconduct. Your profits is not misconduct. That's what you make. Misconduct is, doing stuff illegal. But if you making if it's only misconduct if it's law that says you can only make 30% of what or whatever the number is. But your profit and what you make, that's not misconduct.
What
What
CDL
I'm
saying?
saying, what I
What
what I'm
CDL
saying is
saying bad
misconduct
conduct
as
is?
what I'm saying is misconduct as. Do you believe that they really profited 12.45% last year? I think the
Nah, I
number's
mean
higher.
it's way higher. Way higher.
Who's CH Robinson?
Yes.
Way,
Of
way
course,
higher.
it's way higher.
Way higher.
So
Way
so
higher.
TQL,
so that's what I mean by
TQL,
misconduct.
yeah, TQL had a TQ. They had a study on TQL on a smart portion. And they was popping at 45%. 45%.
Can you see that? Hold on. Let me put my finger right on it. Cause you're gonna love
I
this.
TQL.
Yeah, can you see it?
Well, how much it say?
44.
Oh, see, your boy be reading.
Right on the
Hey, I be
head.
reading. I be reading on the low.
Yeah,
On the low, I be
see?
reading. I'm in tune. I'm in tune with the industry. Nobody can say nothing different, bro.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
see, that's more realistic,
Right.
But the thing is, though, if they reporting 44, do you think it's 44?
Fuck no. From TQL?
That's what I'm saying.
No.
TQL was like, oh, we'll just say 44. It could be 60. You know what I'm
It
saying?
could.
It could
I
be
think it's
it could be
65.
70. You know what I'm saying? But
Shit.
that's the thing is like you look at these numbers, man. You look at these. You know, I never trusted DAT. I never trust. I think Freightways has something called solar, some freight solar or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
solar, yeah, freight. Mhm.
I don't believe that because at the end of the day, how are you get? Tell me how you getting these numbers. How are
Right,
you getting them? Tell me how you getting these numbers to tell me. So you giving these numbers out there so the broker can tell me I can't ask for more money. That's all it is. Well, the
right.
market is 2,000. Well, my expenses is not no
Yep.
2,000. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
And they
saying?
come up with the famous line, buddy, I only got 500. I'm making no money,
Yeah.
buddy. You a goddamn
It's the
lie.
market. It's the market. Look at DAT. But DAT is not an authority in our industry. They're
Right.
not. DAT needs to be out of here because
Yes.
they're making themselves the authority, and the brokers are using that against trucking companies. And I tell you, like I said, I had a shipper using that. So a
Mm,
shipper is using that against these trucking companies with these contracts. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? Well, the market says this, and I always said it. So tell me where they get the information from, so I can call them and I can verify myself.
Right, right.
Oh,
But I just wanted
silent.
to
Well,
read
oh,
that.
that's dude. This what they say. Dude, that's DAT.
Right,
I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
I just wanted to
DAT ain't got
read
nothing to
that
do
to
with me.
y'all because I
Yeah,
thought that was laughable. You can't sit here and tell me that these big brokers like this is making between 12 to 15%. You a goddamn lie.
there's no way.
You must have thought
There's
I was
there's
born last night.
there's no way. But that's the thing about this. You know,
Hell no.
our industry, and that's how we are different. We gonna provide the truth. We gonna tell you how to get around this. We gonna give you the education, and we're not gonna lie to you. There's a lot of
Right,
things in this industry that's lying. Even like you think these things are authority in this industry, and they lying to you.
right.
And we got to pay for this stuff just to get a. If you want to get a broker, you got to pay for DAT 100, 200, 300, 500, and they giving you false information.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
yeah,
Like that's why you know we need regulation, but we also need just these type of platforms. You got a lot of these platforms, DAT, Carrier 401, Highway, all these things that are not helping the industry. You got ELDs. I talked about ELDs today. These
yeah. I
are
saw
not
that.
helping we're not helping the industry, bro. We making the industry so this shit, bro. It's just all the stuff on the outside, bro. And you just like, yo, we if we can just get rid of that, we might be all right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
you're right.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's is this person in your pocket? You need this. You need this. More hoops for us to carry, and then it's just gonna be like, what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Anything? Well, Alante, what's up, man? I know you're trying to chime in. I'm sorry,
No,
man.
it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm actually reading the comments. One guy said a lot of independent contractors have dispatchers overseas. It's a big problem too. It is. And me and
Yeah.
Marcus was just talking about the guy. He talked about how his dispatcher was in what, Norway or something like that.
Mm.
Uh. Oh yeah, we talked to the loaded jackal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot where it was, but he made some valid points though. Why?
Hmm.
What'd he
You
say?
know.
What'd he say?
Go ahead, Alonzo.
Well, no, he basically was just saying that he had a woman before, she was the dispatcher, and he had a problem with her, to say the least. And he ended up getting someone overseas, and they're dispatching him a lot better, and their connections are more honed in. And we were just talking about
But
the
what did he say?
Americans.
Yeah, what did he say the difference between the American freight dispatcher and the overseas dispatcher? What do they do different?
Well, specifically,
Mm,
by the time he got unloaded, he already had another load to go to. It was more
mm,
lined up and ran more smoothly. And
right.
it all boiled down to work ethic. And we were just talking
Hmm.
about how, the modern American doesn't have the work ethic as someone overseas. And that
Mm.
Hmm.
goes down to capitalism. It all go, back to capitalism.
Yep. And he
Oh
also
wow.
said, and referring into that too, he said, my American dispatcher feel like if they book one load for me, that's it. But then
Oh.
my overseas dispatcher will book a load for me as soon as I get loaded up. He'll ask me how much space I got on here.
Hmm.
Oh.
If I got space available, he'll put more on there. He was like, their work ethic is different. They want to maximize my truck. They want to put as much money
Mm.
as they can on my truck. But he said
Mm.
when I had this other dispatcher from America, you know, he, she, whatever. You know, we don't want to get into genders, whatever. But we just say this person was satisfied with booking one freight option, and that's it.
Yeah.
They felt that their job was done. And he would tell them, well, I got more freight. They'd be like, no, you're good. Keep going. Because they just want to do it, but not maximize the truck. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he said was the difference, you know? And that's what it is. We all talk about it. The key term is work ethic,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? That's what it is.
I
Wow.
got a question for you guys.
Talk
Yeah.
to me.
So I'm gonna start with CDL. If you can remove one thing, and Marcus, you and obviously you next. If you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
remove one thing about the industry to make it better, what would it be?
Deregulation.
You remove deregulation.
You say just straight up remove, like I can't
Re-
revise
re-
nothing. I got to straight up remove it.
Well, yeah, but within that, you could probably remove something, and oh yeah, yeah, just remove something, take it out.
Remove something, take it out. I do want people to know that I'm not against brokers. I'm just against the bad ones. Um,
I
but
already knew he
but
was gonna say that.
one thing that I will say is my thing would either be oh this is gonna take you out insurance.
Oh, okay. How can you have a insurance is the business of transfer of risk. How can you
Yeah,
have an industry this risky and not have insurance?
yeah. That's
And
I
you know
want to hear
what?
that
That's
answer.
and you know what? That's true. And as union president,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you the political answer. I have to think about that and get back to
Yeah.
you.
It's the business of transferring risk.
Yes.
That means fine. The trucker's going to take all the risk. They're going to take all if there's a claim and you lose your company, you going to take it. They're going to take it
You
all.
can only do that if you grow to a size like Swift because Swift is
Yeah.
self-insured. But
Yeah.
if we want to
Yeah.
talk how Marcus was talking earlier, then I would go ahead and I would politically say the freight broker because prior to deregulation, there really wasn't a need for them. You had a few scattered, around the industry, but you didn't. But that goes back to people wanting to, uh, um, what's it called when they want to grow.
Mhm.
If you could just do a one truck operation, one truck, one trailer, or two truck, two
For
trailer operation,
sure.
then you expand. Then you don't need to you don't need to do that. And I think Marcus hit the nail on the head earlier when he was talking about people need to downsize because it's not unheard of. And see, that's the thing, man. It's a lot of people that just got into this industry and they feel like the trucker can't dispatch or broker it herself.
Yeah, man.
And they used to do it back. It was a thing back in
Yeah.
the day. But
Yeah.
you had a sneaky salesman that came in and saw what we was getting and wanted a piece of the pie, and they squeezed their way in and snaked their way
Mm,
in. But if we could go back, then I think freight broker is what I would take out.
Okay. And I
mm.
understand about insurance because insurance, it's a stickler. I'm not
It
going to
is.
defend it. I can't defend it, but I do. I want to ask an honest question. It's a transfer of risk, so it's a lot of risk in trucking,
It
But
is.
okay, Marcus, you next.
Oh man. What you said? What's the question?
It's a hard
Nah,
question.
it's a hard question.
What's one thing you remove from this industry that you think that would benefit the industry? Not add to or remove.
What would I remove from this industry? Man,
Ooh, I got another answer too.
It
I just thought
makes you
of it.
think. It makes you think.
it does make you think,
Hey,
but
you know what I want y'all before Marcus answers, you know what I want y'all to do?
what?
Make a short video about that so people can start
Mm,
commenting up under it.
Yeah,
mm,
Yeah. Ask people
mm,
what
yeah,
they think. Make
mm.
it like a cap cut or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So what would I remove from the trucking industry?
for
I think
sure.
my, I think my answer is probably what we've been talking about. You know, there's always going to be certain regulations you want to remove. You know, I really feel like what I want to remove is the attitude of the trucker today.
Okay,
The
I can
That's
respect
true.
that.
attitude of the trucker today. That's one thing I want to remove
Mm.
because the attitude of the trucker today is something that is it's tough,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't have, like I said, they have the attitude where these are for company drivers. I'm not talking about owner operators. They want to work less and make more.
Yeah.
But this industry is not like that. This is one of the
Hmm.
industries that's not like that. So I would say one thing I will remove, because I've been talking about, because I've been going through it. That's probably why it's fresh on my mind. But it's the attitude of the trucker today.
Yeah.
The entitlement, the trying to tell you to do stuff or not doing this and not doing that. As a company driver, yes, you have rights. Yes, you want to make money, but you got to understand this business fluctuates so much. So many things can happen, and you have to have the attitude of working hard and being able to pivot and adjust to things because that's this industry. So I
Mm.
would just say for me, man, just because it hits home, because that's what I'm going through now, is the attitude of the trucker today. I will remove that and have them change that to a better attitude for sure.
Yeah. Got you. That's a good one, Marcus. It is.
Yeah,
It really is. That's a good one.
I
yeah.
probably
What was
will remove the stigma. This is just personal to me.
yeah?
The stigma around old trucks. I feel like
Yeah.
we're pushing this new truck thing and electric trucks, but I feel like old trucks, stick shifts got it done better. I feel
Yeah.
like
What? No, go
okay,
ahead, Alante. Yeah, I want you to finish, sir.
I feel like we do need to go into the future, but that don't mean we need to just destroy the past. And I'm not saying let's go back to cab overs,
Yeah.
but from the insurance perspective, it's so hard to insure 91. And I know those trucks run just as good, if not better. I feel like as long as they met some kind of safety requirement or DOT inspection, but they're getting outlawed, and I see most insurance companies are not insuring these trucks, and I feel like just old trucks, man, were better for the road. They're just my little own opinion from my own world.
I can
Yeah.
tell.
Go.
There's a question we're gonna answer. I want to make sure you
Hmm.
answer. But my thing that is old trucks were too good.
Damn right.
The
Mm.
reason why old trucks are outlawed basically, or not, you know, wanted on that road is because they work too well.
Damn right.
And shops, dealerships aren't making money.
Hmm.
Because if I have an old truck, I can have that truck for 10 years, no problem. Take care of everything, maybe do a rebuild
What?
and all that stuff, right? But you can have that truck for a long time because we talk about, like CDL said, the new trucks are plastic, death issues, all of this stuff. These old trucks
Hmm.
they were mechanical, no computer, no
It
death. They were
kept
too
your
good.
overhead low.
They were too good. And then what happened was the dealerships were like, we're not making enough money. How can
Hmm.
we make more money? We have
Hmm.
to add, death. We have
Hmm.
to add the computer. We have to add all these things to these trucks. So now
Census.
they have the sensors. Now they have
Hmm.
to come to us. Like I said, dealerships make money not off the truck sales, off of the service.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's their
Yeah.
money maker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why you have the attitude towards new trucks. It's not the driver. The drivers love the old trucks. It's everybody else because they work too well and people aren't making money.
Yep. To capitalize on that, I know a guy right now here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He got a 1997 Freightliner FLD. It got over 1,000,000 miles on it. He got one overhaul done on it, and he's still trucking till this day.
Exactly.
He's
They're too
still
good.
trucking to this day. And guess what? That was the guy. That was the old truck driver that I was out driving that 15 speed with. He had a not a FLD. I'm sorry, forgive me. It was a
Classic.
Peterbilt, a
Oh, okay.
97 Peterbilt, 97 Peterbilt.
No.
Um, 97 Peterbilt, over 1,000,000 miles. He got an overhaul on it, and still doing loads. He runs from Whiteville, North Carolina, which is out there by Fayetteville. He runs from there all the way up to Buffalo, New York.
Yep. So there's a question on here. I want to make sure we talk about it. Best of the best, 4 or 5, 4 or 5. It's a good question. So that's why let's do a roundtable on this question.
Okay.
He said, how do you boost up the morale for the trucker?
Ooh, that's a good
I
one.
let I think CDL, he's president,
Yeah.
so he about to that's a good one for you. You started off CDL.
Well, to boost up the morale, it goes back to, for me, it goes back to the propaganda thing,
Mm-hmm.
like what got a bunch of these young truckers in back in 2020 to boost their
Mm-hmm.
morale. I can make $1 million, I can become a millionaire, I can drive a Rolls Royce and a Bentley. I think
Mm-hmm.
now that the culture has shifted, I think it needs to be educational based.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you mean to tell me that I can not only, okay, maybe I might not make $1 million, but if I buy my own truck, an older truck, you mean to tell me that I can truly have a chance to make generational wealth instead of having just a stepping stone?
Yeah.
So I think now it needs to come back to the truth. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
come back to just telling the truth, being honest, and also work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the work ethic has got to come back. It's no easy way to make. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody came to you and said you can make $100 and you ain't gotta do shit, you want to run as
Yeah.
fast as you can away from that person, because one thing I learned in life: nothing's free. Ain't nothing
Correct.
in this world free.
Right.
Somebody, if you don't gotta pay for it, somebody down the line had to sacrifice for that. You know.
Right.
So so to boost the morale, man, it's got to be some people that really want to be in this industry. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you
All right.
guys think?
What do you
Uh,
think, Alante? How do you boost up the morale for truckers?
you know, some of my most fondest memories of when I was in my truck was when I was getting up early in the morning and I would get in my truck. I had me a coffee from Love. I mean, sorry, from TA. I used to have like a pecan coffee, and when it's cold outside, TA sells
PK.
this famous pecan coffee, and I like my coffee black. It was just perfect, dude. And I remember just being in the morning and seeing other truckers, and it was a sense of camaraderie
Yes, proud.
and proudness, you know. But that faded, and I think as that faded, it made me kind of like lose a love for it because people got into it and it changed. But I think if we all had like a more sense of camaraderie, like at a truck stop, it used to just be like I don't know, like we used to be in the truck spot, truck stop, hanging out with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it was, bro. But if you can't get that back, I don't see how you can boost morale. Because if we, we all don't know we're on the same team. If I don't see you breaking down on the side of the road, and I come help you out. If I don't see you
Mm-hmm.
need food, I help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Fuel, and I help you out. Like, what are we in it for? It got to be camaraderie.
Right. True. I think CDL he can't. He'll be back. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, he'll be back. He'll
No,
be back.
that's kind of what I was kind of leaning to as far as the way you can boost up the morale of truckers, truck drivers. It starts with them.
Hmm.
It starts with them. It starts about them caring about the industry, them wanting to learn, them want to be better, and not accepting anything less. There's people out there in our industry that have profiles that entertainment and stuff like that. That can boost you up for a little bit, but then you go back to what you got to do. But it all starts with the truckers.
Hmm.
I think everybody in the administration in our industry, we're looking for somebody to save us,
Hmm.
but not knowing that truckers, if they stick together,
Yes,
that
sir.
they can do a lot. But it
Hmm.
starts with them. It starts with them and it ends with them. You boost the morale by wanting to learn, helping a fellow trucker. If he came back, helping him back. Not getting on social media and talking about a trucker that can't drive, or talking about, oh, this person works for this company, so they suck. All that stuff is just making you guys look bad.
Yeah.
If you talking about a trucker, you're talking about yourself because you're a trucker. At the end of the day. So
I'm
if you take
I'm proud
care of
though.
yourself, yeah, if you take care of yourself and you worry about each other as truckers, that's how you can boost the morale.
Hmm.
You should feel good if somebody's backing and they have a problem and you get out and you help them. That should boost your morale right
For
there. Because, man, I just helped
sure.
somebody get in this thing and not cause an accident. Or you see somebody, remember I was at the truck stop. I remember at the truck stop, and you see somebody at the truck stop, and they filling up one side, but they don't know how to fill up the other side because you got dual tanks, and they
Hmm.
need help, and some people don't want to help them. You like, hey, bro, this is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like being
Yeah.
able to pass the education and being able to, if you know something, passing it to somebody that may not know, taking pride in that information and giving that information. Don't
Yeah, bro.
gatekeep that. You know what I'm saying? So
We
I
call it
think that's
holding
how
your
you,
nuts. Don't hold your
yeah,
nuts on me.
right.
Yeah.
So that's how you can boost the morale of truck driver, man. Is taking pride in yourself, taking pride in your information, and then taking pride in giving that information and helping people.
Hmm.
That's how you can do that. So that's how you can boost the morale for sure between truckers. Is doing it, starting with you and starting with yourself. I'm bringing in CDL now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the morale is increased, more or less recently, bro, because of all these social media truckers.
My bad,
Mm-hmm.
my bad,
Welcome
fellas,
back,
my bad.
No, you
brother.
good. You good.
Phone
But
did catch me.
yeah, there's a great increase of social media truckers, and
Yes,
I feel like that new wave is actually good because it's kind of get everybody in the mood, like it's kind of it's a cool fad thing. You feel me? And
Right.
it needs to be. It don't need to be a fad cool thing because that means it can burn out, but it does need to be something to where it's cool to do, man. It ain't lame to be a trucker, bro. Like you can get if you live in a good rural area. I keep saying maybe even on the outskirts of a bigger city, you can make some good money, bro.
Right.
hmm
That's a
hmm
that's I feel like the next wave of social media influencers for trucking are going to be in a different are heading in a different direction. You know, like what we do, we're not just social media influencers. This is what we do to spread the education. But you see other influencers out there just talking about the job and talking about what it's really like. Those are the people that, if you looking for a social media influencer that you should look at that gives you the day to day what you're actually going to be doing and the life that you're going to live.
right.
But I always feel like if you don't have a whole lot of options in your life and you want to make money and look at and see the United States, I feel like trucking is a good situation. But I just tell people don't get into trucking thinking you're gonna be a millionaire right off the bat. It takes time. But that's
Yeah,
anything, man. If you want to be a social media star, there's people that put 10 years into this
Yes.
before they
yeah,
even hit big. So no matter what you do, it's gonna take time. But I always feel like I said, trucking is a good option for people that don't have nothing, that's trying to, get away from their current situation, make some money, or if you got out of jail, you've been incarcerated for 10, 15 years, you trying to make some money, but do it the right way. I know plenty of people that's been incarcerated for 10, 15 years that's doing great in trucking, and they don't want to expand. They just want their truck, and they just want to make money.
yeah,
Or if you don't want to deal with nobody, like my
Correct.
underwriter, he's a corporate person. He was to be a truck driver. He said, "Bro, I miss trucking because I ain't got to deal with people. I just got to go get my truck." And that's a
Hmm.
big thing. A lot of people have social, for lack of a better term, awkwardness, where they don't want to just fuck with people. And it's a good way to
Right.
make a living. You can, you see other truckers, and that's it.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It just
that.
depends on the type of person you are, for sure.
Yep, yep. That old school truck driver I told you about, that got 1,000,000 miles on his truck, bro. He's been a one man band for the last 25 years. Well, he told me 25 years of his life, and he like it that way. This dude got land. This dude got acres on acres. He got horses. He got goats on his land.
He did the
I'm
right
His
way,
house
telling
is paid
man.
off. Huh?
Salute, bro. He did
Yeah.
the right way. I'm so happy to hear that.
you.
His
Hmm.
house is paid off, and he's 66 years old and still trucking. Not because he has to, but because he wants to.
Right.
You used to can do that though, bro. Like you used to can do that. That was the quintessential American dream, but we're in a whole nother,
Yeah.
sphere. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like people. I feel like yes, it's probably a little more difficult because with all the regulations and how much money you got to pay. But there's some people out there like you can be a company driver with some companies further in your career. You can make 100K. If you got low expenses, man, that's a good amount of money. If you living in the right place, that's a good amount of money. You can have those things, but like at the end of the day, you still got to put in the time. You still got to work. You still got to be willing
Right.
to do the things that not a lot of people want to do. And it's
Right.
all about your attitude and your mentality, man. And that's what I'm saying. That's the biggest thing is like you can be successful in trucking, but it just takes time. So you got to be
Yes.
patient. You got to be
Yes.
patient. But you see these people that, oh, I did trucking for 6 months. I hated it. Bro, you
Yeah.
you only did 6 months?
Have y'all
yeah,
Come on, man.
seen
exactly.
the new wave now on YouTube or on TikTok or whatnot of people that are making it look cool to quit trucking now?
I
Oh
seen
yeah,
that bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
done
that.
seen it.
yeah, man.
And I
Yeah, it's
made a
crazy.
video. I made a video about that. I said, talking about when people say this. I don't like when people. I don't like when truckers or wannabe truckers because they're not really truckers. They get in and get out. Wannabe truckers say,
Yeah,
"Well, I can quit this company and I can go to another one. I can quit
yeah,
this one. I can go to another one." I
yeah,
said, bro, you don't know what a DAC report is. You don't know that
yeah.
all this stuff is on there.
Mm-hmm.
You think if you work for this company, you come over to me, you think I want to hire you? You think
Word.
I?
Right.
But the thing is though, you think that if I see you hopping around for 3 to 4, 5 different companies, you think I care about where you want to go? Because I know you
Hey,
only gonna be here for a short amount of time.
hey.
So I'm gonna make as much money as I can off of you because you don't care. Why should I care? Like
Can I say?
those drivers want the company to care, but they don't care.
Can I say something about
Yeah,
that? Y'all gonna
yeah,
laugh at me. So that's the reason why I had to do flatbed as long as I did. First of all, I fucking hated flatbed. Let me just
yeah.
say that. But the flatbed company I went to was the only company that would take me because I job hopped my first 2 years. No, my
See,
first 3 years. After I stayed with Swift for a year and a month because I had to pay them back for they paid for my education. But the them other 2 years, man, I job hopped and I job hopped so much that guess
mm-mm.
what? That flatbed company was the only company that would take me, and I wanted to quit flatbed so bad because I hated it. But
Nope.
I couldn't go nowhere, man. I was on the plantation. I couldn't go nowhere.
That so to all the new drivers, we talking to all the new drivers right now.
I know what that is.
All the new drivers, your first 2 years is like college.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you want to compare it to something, your first 2 years is like college. And I always tell people, I don't have a problem with the big companies because the good thing about if you started with a big company, they pay for your CDL. Oh, you ain't got to
Hmm.
pay for your CDL. You get training. Oh, that's cool. I'm not saying it's the best of training, but you get some type of training. But what I like
Yeah.
about the big companies, you can say, oh, I want to do drive-in. I want to do flatbed. I want to do reefer. I want to do tanker. I want to do this. Now you got experience in all the fields. And then after your
Hmm.
2 years, now you know what you want to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But some people like to hop, hop, hop. Oh, this, because you know why? They don't care about the experience. They're looking at the money.
Yep.
But why would you get paid a lot of money if this is your first time driving a truck that can carry up to 80,000 pounds? I'm taking the biggest risk just by bringing you on. So you are here to get experience because your experience is what's going to get you a higher paying job. It's a paid internship. Your first 2 years as a driver is a paid internship. So you should be
Oh,
happy with what you're getting.
I like that you said that. That definition right there, I do like that you said that. Paid
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
internship. Because it is. But here's the thing that I got a problem with. You got companies out there, still to this day, that are paying paid internship money to people that's been in the industry for 10 years.
There you
What's
go.
up with that?
There you go. It was up to that person to find a better situation.
Yep.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's all it is. So you know how you talk. You know how you talk about the regulations and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
there should be a set quota. If you've ever followed the NBA, in the NBA you have minimums. Okay, you have
Yeah.
if you've been in the league for 1 2 years, this is your minimum. 3 years minimum, 4 years minimum, vet minimum. That's the big term.
Mm.
I feel like there needs to be that in trucking. There needs to be
Oh.
a minimum for the amount of years that you drove. You should say, okay, I drove
Yeah.
for this years. Then if you're doing hourly or whatever, it's this, it's this,
Yes.
it's this. I feel like that'll be in the trucker thing because now you're getting rewarded for your years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Exactly.
I feel like something like that. There should be a minimum based on the years that you've been in the industry. Because you know why? That will make people stay in the industry longer because they're like, if I get to 5 years, I'm a guaranteed make this. I'm a guaranteed
Right.
to make this. But the only problem with that is this industry fluctuates so much. So how do
Yes.
you guarantee that when the industry is doing this?
Yeah. Not only does it fluctuate, I found out the hard way, man. I was going to try to go back to DM Bowman a few years ago, and I did go back to DM Bowman about 2 years ago when I was doing the truck driver training as well. And I was working two jobs. I was doing a CDL training in the daytime, and I was running up to Virginia for DM Bowman at nighttime. I was running myself ragged at that time, but I was
Mm-hmm.
hustling. But DM, this is what we need to fight against too, and I think I might do a video and bring this more to light because this is also what's happening too. So what I found out is trucking is in the CEO and big people that make decisions in their eyes, trucking is a what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Meaning, guess what? If I've been in the industry 10 years, if I've been a driver 10 years, and let's say I got sick or something happened and I've been out of it for 3 years, when you come back into the industry, if you don't have your own truck, you got to start from the bottom because they want to know when's the last time you drove, how much experience do you have in the
Mm-hmm.
last, they'll say like 18 months or 24 months, some shit like that. And you'll be like, well, I haven't really drove in the last 3 years because some family stuff have come up or some life stuff have come up, but I got 20 years of experience prior to that. They don't give a fuck about that 20
Mm-hmm.
for real. And then
Zero.
let me tell you what else I found out too. I also found out that guess what? If you go to a CDL school and become a licensed instructor like I was, and you do 2 years, 1 year don't matter. They don't count that as driving experience either. And I was like, what? I'm literally driving with people that just got a permit. Y'all don't count that? No, they do not count that
They
shit.
count over the road experience.
Yes, and that's fucked
Mhm.
up.
Well, this is why I think that's why I think that there's going to be a rise, and it's going to be really good for owner operators
Mm,
because a lot of these companies have ridiculous rules, and a lot of these people don't want to conform to those rules. So you're going to
yeah.
see less and less. You're going to see less and less company drivers, and you're going to see more and more owner operators, and it's going to be really
Mm-hmm.
good. That's why I feel like it's going to be really good for owner operators. If you're owner operator, one truck though, not two or three, just one truck,
Yeah.
you and your truck. It's gonna be
Right.
really good for them because, like I said, people don't want to be company drivers because A, the money,
Mm-hmm.
B, the work amount, stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel that if you're an owner operator, you're gonna be solid because, like I said, people do not want to work for companies because there's so many different things. And then you can get
Who?
fired for anything. You can get fired for anything.
Somebody in the comments said they don't agree, and then somebody said do away with clearinghouse. Shit's a money grab. They're gonna make it too
Oh,
expensive.
I said they're gonna make it
And
too
then
expensive.
what? Alante, read that comment that's above when they said they don't agree. I can't. It won't let
He
me go
said
back
he
up.
said once a
What's
driver, always a once a
mhm,
driver,
Oh,
always a driver.
okay.
He
Got
said
you. Got
mhm.
you.
he, he said they not that how they make money. He said they're gonna make it too expensive. I just got fired for a 13 over ticket. Oh yeah, Jesse. I talked to him through the DM
Mm,
and on my other chat. He's cool. But yeah, I think he hasn't been in the industry that long. He said they fired him. Yeah, for a 13-mile. I think what he said. I think he said Snyder. Is it Snyder? I think it was Snyder.
probably.
13.
That sounds like something
Yeah,
Snyder would do.
13
Isn't
over.
13, depending on what state, that super speeder?
I think it was
Yeah.
in
Anything over
California.
10.
So yeah, I think it's California too. I think it happened in California. I believe.
He said, "Yep, with only 2 months." Oh, he said, "Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, with only." And super speeders are classified, and they're probably there for insurance purposes as well, because a lot of insurance policies, if you got a super speeder, especially if you're a newer
Yeah.
um, driver, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they frown upon it.
And
Well, that's
see
why I told
that
him.
right
That's why I
there,
told him to get a
that's a
lawyer
video
though.
you need to make on that.
What's that?
Hmm. He
Super
got it in
speeder.
Kansas.
Hmm.
Make a video on that. A lot of people, man, I guarantee you people don't know nothing about that.
He said,
Sure, hey,
"Oh, who's this?
2025, hey, Marcus,
Jen?
2025
Oh,
is Alante's year to shine. We need to stay on his ass.
tell.
I'm with it.
I'm still waiting for the next video. Uh, so
I got you. I got you.
Gen Creation said I got my CDL 4 months ago and still can't find a job because everybody wants experience. That's why I tell people if you're gonna get your CDL, just go to a mega carrier. You have to because you're gonna get the experience because they're gonna pay
yeah,
for your CDL. It's tough
yeah.
getting your it's tough getting your CDL on your own and trying to go to get a job. It's better if you're gonna get into the game. and you don't have, a CDL, do it with a big carrier. And just stop listening
Right.
to what everybody's saying about these big carriers. Yeah, being with a big carrier is not a long-term goal, but being with them with your
Not at
first,
all.
being with your first 1 year, 2 year, and having them pay for your CDL is great for people getting into the industry. Because, like I said, you be able to touch everything, every sector in the industry. You'll be able to touch, and then you'll be able to see what you do or don't want to do. But
Mm.
I would never tell somebody to get their own CDL. You know, I would say get it through a mega carrier, let them pay for it, and then do 2 years of paid internship. That's what I would
Yep.
definitely say.
Yep.
Yeah, lawyer should have been.
Yeah, Jesse said 15 over is a super speeder.
Mm.
Um, he said I did, and they only offer. I guess he's talking about a lawyer. And then only one Dante. Okay, here's a question for Alante. Only one Dante said, "What the hell is a super speeder?" There you go,
See? See, there
Alante.
you go.
So, so a super
See?
speeder. Now, listen, this is just legal
Hey,
terms. This is a little bit out of
uh-uh.
my
Yeah.
ballpark.
Uh-uh.
No,
Uh-uh.
no, no.
No. Hey,
It says
save it.
trucking insurance expert.
Yeah.
I mean,
But look though.
okay,
But look though. Save it for a video.
okay,
Let
Oh
all
whoever
no,
made
right.
that comment.
we can no. He can talk about it, and we can make it into a video. I can cut it
Oh
into a
yeah,
video.
cap cut it.
All
Cap cut it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
My
right.
bad. Do
we're
your
gonna add,
thing, fellas.
okay. Let's start over. Let's start over.
Yeah.
Only one Dante said, "What the hell is a super speeder?" Alante, you on the hook?
Cap cut.
Okay. A super speeder is basically, and it depends what state you're in. It's normally 15 miles or over. And what super speeder does is that it signifies that you're in excessive speeding in a certain zone. Most insurance companies identify with on the same lines as DUIs, meaning
Mm.
they'll they won't cover you for it. So a super speeder, DUI, other major traffic infractions are incredibly detrimental to your company.
Mm. Gotcha.
Yo, okay.
There
Let's
you go.
see. Jesse said the lawyer said the best they can do it was 15 over, but I guess 7 CSA points is better than getting 10. Okay, damn. Let's see. Only
Just
one
like B.
Dante said I
Phillips.
yeah, only Dante, he said I got a ticket doing 80 and a 35, but I got a lawyer is gone now. And then Jesse said if you get one in a truck, you're done for. Yeah,
Oh,
it depends. And also too, it depends on what lawyer you got too, man. Like you said, only one Dante got an 80 and a 35 and the ticket gone. So it all depends on who you got.
did, did you say B Phillips was in here?
Yeah, B. Phillips, he and follow me, good
Oh,
peoples.
okay, yeah. Yeah, he real good people, man. I was gonna buy some clothing from him last year, but he ran out. But yeah, shout out B Phillips, man. Continue to do
Jesse
your thing, brother.
Jesse
B-
said, so do you think I can still find a job with that 13 over ticket with 2 months experience?
I do think you can. I just think that you have to go to an owner operator, and or you have to go to a big carrier. Normally, certain big carriers take you.
Yeah. There's
Um,
somebody that still take them. There's somebody that still take them.
guys, I'm probably gonna have to cut my loud short though, bro. Well, it ain't short, but I'm gonna cut
Sure,
it.
yeah, we
Yeah,
about to get
Yeah.
off. We about to get
yeah,
off of here.
yeah. We're gonna go ahead and get off, man. Hey, it's always a pleasure chopping it up with y'all, man. Hey, and to be honest, I like what y'all did last week by opening it up and letting other people come in. Once I left, man, that was cool. We need to do more of that.
Yeah,
That was
I know. I
cool.
thought we should have did it, but we just been having these great conversations, man. I think the
It's
next
all
time
good.
we'll do it.
Yeah.
Open up because we getting a
It
lot of
never
we
hurt.
getting a lot of questions though. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually we don't get that,
yeah,
but now we get the questions. So, but yeah, man, next time we'll
yeah,
hey, anybody that want to get
yeah.
on, just add a video request. We don't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say
CDL
it's never a bad thing once all three of us get together and
for
just
sure.
chill out. Between us every once in a while. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's like a little round table for us.
Yeah,
So CDL and Marcus, I'm on it, bro. I promise. I got the video. I got some videos recorded, bro. But honestly,
CDL,
I gotta go with
CDL,
myself. I don't like
What?
myself on video.
Hold
CDL.
on. What'd you say, Marcus?
I gotta
Hey,
switch up
Okay,
for
look,
it.
we
my
still
my
we,
my little
we
nephew used
still
to do
wait.
this.
Yeah. We still waiting for the next one.
I got
When's the next video
you.
coming
I
out?
got you, bro. I promise. You be
Like,
like, damn,
I'm
he really
posting more.
doing it.
I'm posting more videos of you than you.
I know. I know,
That's all
bro.
right. I just
like,
tag you, bro. You still getting the videos. You
It's
still
all
oh
getting them.
yeah,
love, bro.
oh
I
yeah,
got you. Like,
oh
damn, he
yeah,
got a lot of
Yeah,
videos. I'm gonna start
yeah.
dropping. You like, damn, it's
Yeah,
Jordan.
drop them.
yeah.
You see me. I said, man, these dudes gonna be tired of me and talk about the invite the collab. I'm gonna invite collab all y'all all the time. Collab, 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 collab. That's what it is, man.
I
I'm just
don't
spreading
give
Hey,
information,
that
because
man.
look. To be honest with you, that's I love it because yo, you just made the Freight Friday page. I think last week, and we already up to 100 subscribers already.
And it's been
damn.
going. It's been going, and then the views is going up. And that's only like 5 or 6 videos I made off of that one. I haven't. So
Yeah.
what I want to do is what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna create the Freight Fridays on YouTube, and then be
Okay.
able to have it to where it's like our faces are the same width on there, and just put it
Yeah.
on there, and just let that run. Because like I said, it's organic, man. It's not no studio or anything, but it's just us
Right.
talking and just putting out there. Because what I've learned is a lot of people, a lot of truck drivers and stuff will listen to us when they driving.
Yep.
So they'll just have the
One hundred
video
percent.
on and they be driving and listen to what I say. Because one guy told me, well, a bunch of drivers told me, they was like, hey, man, I just put you, he said, because when you talking about the longer videos, man, you be having 5 to 8 minute videos. I just put that on and just be driving, just be
Hmm.
listening
Yep.
and then seeing what you're saying. So I definitely want to do that,
Yep.
man. I'm gonna work on the YouTube and just put, these things that we've had, just put it on there. And just like I said, man,
Yep.
it's not like we just trying to put the information out there and people listen and just have that real info, man. I really
Yeah.
want to push that. And that's what we've been doing ever since we started.
Yep. And the another thing that I love about us, man, all three of us, is we started together
Yep.
and we started a group to where everybody can shine. And I love that nobody acts like they're above anybody. Y'all don't
Hell
act
Yeah.
like
no,
y'all
bro.
above me. I don't act like I'm above y'all. We come together genuinely and we just chop it up. And I
Especially
love that.
y'all. Y'all definitely cause shit, you
Oh,
know.
you know me, you be CDL. I ain't nobody.
Nah. You somebody, bro.
CDL.
You
Nah,
my
Marcus,
dog.
you done went viral
Hey,
now.
no,
You done went
Yeah,
viral
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a few times.
Look, CDL, Superman, me and Alante on the Cape, like, come on, brother, keep going,
I'm on the
keep
tape.
going with it, brother.
I got 700 followers.
No, me and you on the Cape, we both on the
Y'all
Cape, like,
silly.
come on, man, come on,
Y'all silly. I love
I
y'all
got
though, man. I love
700
y'all.
man,
followers, bro.
keep going, man, hey, keep going
I love
Marcus,
y'all,
all you
man.
do
I
is get
love
more
y'all.
followers. I'm like, damn, I'm happy.
Hey,
And I
I've
see
been,
CDL.
yeah,
He keep
go ahead,
going up. I
man.
say, I got to do more, man. But it's great to have still sharpening skills. And believe it or not, I
Yeah.
love it, bro, because I got my office to shoot more content. And I told Marcus, I'm hardly in my fucking office, dude. It's bad.
Yeah, yeah,
It's bad, bro. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I've started to make money being at home more, and I got a lady I'm
Mhm.
hiring. So now I
Right.
don't really don't got no excuse not to be in my office. So
Same
I got more
here, man.
videos
Same
coming.
here. I've been home because of this fire and stuff like that, and just been, family, been
How
sick. You
far are
know,
you from the
I
fire?
Palisades is probably like I want to say 40 minutes on the other side of the mountain.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Palisades is what got hit really hard. They got
It's
cleared,
sad,
everything gone.
bro. A lot of those
hmm
people don't have insurance.
So this is the thing.
State Farm
So this is the
is
thing.
on fire.
So
Mm,
a lot of these insurance companies drop policies. They was dropping policies all last year. All last year
mm.
they was just dropping people, no
I heard
renewals,
about
just dropping them,
that.
right? But the thing is though, so a lot of people talking about California about to become a red state because Palisade is where a lot of the Hollywood people are.
Hmm.
A lot good amount of Hollywood people, a lot of actors and all the actresses, they live in the Palisades. So these are the same people voting for the blue side. Now, what you think they're
Ooh.
gonna go to now? Because what's gonna happen is the thing is though, your house is gone. So now you got to get permits and stuff to build these houses. But how you gonna build these houses when you got regulations in the way to build your house fast?
Yeah.
So they saying it's
Yeah.
gonna take people 3 to 5 years just to get permits. You know what
Damn.
I'm saying? So the reason why is because we got a lot of regulations. Oh, if you build this house, you got to worry about the birds. You got to worry about the fish. You got to worry about the water going down to the mountain leopards. Like we got stupid regulations that they care about, but they don't care about getting your house built in a timely manner. You know, I had a house in Vegas. It got built from the ground up 3 months. Three
Mm.
months. That same house will probably take 2 to 3 years to get built here in California. So a lot of people been looking at the administration here in the state, and now these people in Palisades, they got a voice. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be happening. But I always feel like the thing about California is not like how you guys are in the South. You guys got a lot of land.
Yeah.
We got land too, though, but we can't. We have a housing crisis, so it's hard for us to build because there's nowhere to build,
Yeah.
especially in these expensive areas. So how do you rebuild and make more money? You gotta knock it down.
Right.
So I feel like also too, a lot of people are going to be buying. Some of these people are going to be like, the Hollywood people, yeah, they'll wait. But some people been living there since they would, for 30, 40 years. They've been living there since it was cheap. Those are going to be
Yeah.
the people that sell their land for pennies on the dollar, but then somebody going to come up there and scoop it up.
Yeah.
Example, Maui. Maui is a prime example of what happened in Maui is going to happen in the Palisades and these other parts of California. So it's sad, bro, but in order for them to build, you got to knock it down.
Yeah.
So they use the
That's
fire
true.
because they said, oh, we ran out of water. We ran out of water, but there's an ocean right there. Oh, we can't use that water because of the fish.
It's crazy.
It's
It's
crazy.
They
crazy.
was doing stuff like that. Yeah, the ocean is literally right there. No, we can't use that because we worried about the fish, the whales, the dog. Man, I don't care about none of this. I need to get this water. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They was doing stuff like that. Like, no, you can't go to the ocean. Then they finally allowed it because they had these Canadian bombers come, and then what they did, they don't care. They just came to the ocean, scooped up water, and got on. They was the only ones to do it with the Canadian bombers because they don't care,
Damn.
bro. We coming over here, we scooping and we dropping. You know. But yeah, so that it's a huge problem, bro. But don't be surprised if this state starts turning because of
All
stuff
that
like
fucking
that. Because
water.
now over water. Yeah, we got water. We got water that we supposed to get. This is the true thing about California. There's water coming up from the north. It comes from Canada, Washington, and Portland because they got a lot of mountains and stuff. So when the ice caps and stuff freeze and then they melt, the water comes down. So we basically got this big old think about like a big old faucet. And Trump talks about this. There's a big old faucet that we have, but they won't let the water come to us because they say, well, if it comes to us, you guys can't use it because it's going to affect these little fishes. They're called quilts or something like that. It starts with a K. These little fishes come in that water, and if you do that and use up all the water, they're going to become a dangerous species. So they reroute that water to the Pacific Ocean.
Environmentalists, you gotta love them.
That's what it is. So we talk about the EPA and all that. That's the reason why we don't have copious amounts of water. It's because of some damn fish.
I never like California laws. I'm sorry.
California for you. You know
They
what I'm
got the
saying?
craziest laws.
That's California for you. But
Yeah,
that's
come
like I
on, vote.
said.
You don't need no ID. That makes
Yeah.
sense. You can just walk off the street and be alien.
Well, we all know what they were trying. They were trying to stack them votes, but that
Yeah.
didn't happen. I think what it is, man. People are just fed up, man. We got Gavin Newsom here. Nobody likes him. He does everything wrong, and it really showed here. It's crazy. We got a black woman. She just got voted to be not governor, mayor of LA. She cut the fire department's thing 20. She cut 20 million off of there. 20 million that we could have used, but now we got 50 billion estimated in losses.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
I'm just glad our place is still standing. We good, but yeah, there's a lot of people out there. But I hate to say it, it's the right people for it to happen to because they got a voice. If it would have happened in the hood, nobody would care.
Yeah.
But these white folks, they gonna
Oh
they
yeah.
gonna get stuff done.
Right there by the water too, and I seen this one house that was like literally
Malibu
almost on
too.
the beach.
Malibu going. Yeah, Malibu, Palisades.
What the
Those are
fuck,
pretty much gone.
bro?
You know
Like right there
what it
by the
made me kind
beach.
of think of? It made me
Hmm?
kind of think of Katrina.
Mm.
Yeah, all this is planned. All this is planned, bro.
Yes.
It happens for a
Yeah.
reason. It
Because
happens
I
for
don't
a
see,
reason.
I don't know, it's just me, but I don't see how somebody can come in office and then automatically just cut the fire department. Most of them
Hmm.
motherfuckers is volunteers anyway.
I
But
was
you
a
know
fire.
you're gonna
I was a
need.
former. I was a former firefighter. You know that, right? I used to be a
Oh no,
firefighter.
I
Yeah,
didn't. Thank you for your service.
yeah. I used to be a
But
firefighter. You know.
you're gonna need those emergency responders. So I don't. It just for me, and I maybe because I'm not a politician or whatnot, but it just don't make sense looking from the outside in. And then you saw
You know, a lot of
what
stuff.
happened. We all saw what happened in New Orleans. I mean, that area where Katrina hit, go
Mhm.
down there right now. That
Yeah.
area is booming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So then, in order to build stuff and do stuff that you want to do, you got to tear it down. And what you use is natural disasters, but are they really natural disasters? There's somebody making these fires happen, and they put them in these areas. Every year we got it's called Santa Ana winds. Every year we have Santa Ana winds.
Hmm.
Every year it's the same thing. So all you need to do is do one fire, and what it does, the embers, they catch the embers in the wind, and it carries, and it
Yeah,
drops
Mm.
over here. Us not
yeah,
having water, we can't water the brush, the trees, and all that, so it's dry. So you got embers in the air plus dry land equals fire, plus wind. It spreads fast. Three things you
yeah.
don't want. So
Right.
come on, man. We've been having this for years. This problem for years. But if you look at it, it's happening in certain areas. It's
Yeah.
happening in old areas that they want to redevelop.
Have
Mm.
y'all ever heard of HARP?
Mm,
HARP. Look it up when y'all can. HARP is a
mm.
machine that governments use to manipulate weather.
Mm.
Yeah, look it
That's
up.
the
It's an actual
that's the
big ass machine.
is that the cloud seeding?
Yes.
That's what
No,
they
that's
use in.
no, that's because you talking about the cloud seeding where
That's what they.
chemtrails.
So cloud seeding is like when they shoot stuff in the sky
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they see the sky. So that's what they did in Dubai, but they overdid it and they had a huge flood. So
Ah.
that's what
Mm.
cloud seeding is. They did too much.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? And the whole place was flooded. But yeah,
Damn.
I look up the harp thing. But yeah, man, California, man, is just it's a great state, man. You know, you can do a lot of things, but we just have to, at the end of the day, we have the wrong people in, not doing enough. But at the end of the day, it's not even the people that's in it; it's the people that's controlling them. That's politics, man.
Yeah.
Oh, for
The
sure.
people
Yeah.
that's in the seat, they not making decisions. It's people that's paying for their campaign funds, paying for their life after politics. That's just what it
Yeah.
is, man. But like I
Yeah.
said, the right people got their stuff burnt up, so they ain't gonna let this die down. They ain't.
Oh hell no.
They not. They not.
Hell no.
Yeah, but
No.
we did good on this one though, guys. We did about 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Man, I
Oh
know. We gotta
shit. Good.
cut. We got
That's a
two
real
hours. We gotta.
podcast, and I would do longer. Well, I know my kids about to come out here, and
No, I know. I know. I know. I gotta go downstairs here too. But nah,
Yeah.
man, it was
Family
good, man. Good
time.
conversation. Good, yeah, good conversations, man. And I appreciate you guys. Freight Fridays, man. We're gonna keep doing this thing, and I appreciate everybody logging in and all that. I'll be cutting up clips tomorrow. I ain't doing it tonight, but
hey man,
All
yeah, we're gonna get
right.
this
you can
thing
send it to me
cracking,
if
keep
you
it
want to,
going.
man.
Yeah, I'll send it
'Cause
to
I like to post them.
yeah, yeah. So I'll send it to you too, and I'll send it to CDL, and then like I said, whatever y'all cut up, throw it on the Freight Fridays thing. But it's yeah, like I said, it's jumping. So it's good. It gives us another platform to talk and shoot the shit and
Yep.
talk about this industry, man. But
Yep.
great job on everybody, man. Appreciate you, brothers, for sure.
I appreciate all you guys, man. Marcus, y'all stay blessed, stay safe out there. Alante, stay safe out there, man. I love y'all, man. We brothers for life, man. And until next time.
Until next time, appreciate y'all.
All
Freight
right.
Fridays.
Our Freight Friday.